largest 6 banks had combined assets of only about 17% of GDP. So today, 15 years ago, 17%, 6 banks, today 4 banks, he claims 63% of GDP. In other words, Mr. President, over the last 15 years, the largest banks in this country have more than tripled in size. Now, Mr. President, not only are too big to fail financial institutions bad for taxpayers, the enormous concentration of ownership in the financial sector has led to higher bank fees, usurious interest rates on credit cards, and fewer choices for consumers. What do you think happens when you have a few institutions, a handful of institutions, controlling mortgage lending or the ability of people, where people get their credit cards? Today, Mr. President, these huge financial institutions have become so big that, according to the Washington Post, the 4 largest banks in America now issue 1 out of every 2 mortgages, 2 out of 3 credit cards, and hold 4 out of every $10 in bank deposits in the entire country. Mr. President, if any of these financial institutions were to get into major trouble again, taxpayers would be on the hook for another substantial bailout, and we cannot allow that to happen. So the whole reason for the bailout is that if any of these financial institutions collapsed, it would take down a significant part of the economy and millions of jobs. We had to prop them up. We had to bail them out. And it turns out that since we bailed them out, these handful of financial institutions are now even larger than they were before. And we now know they are enjoying very strong profits, and they are paying their CEOs even more in compensation than they did before the breakdown. In my view, Mr. President, if we are serious about understanding why the middle class is collapsing, if we are serious about really getting this economy moving again, long term, we have got to have the courage to do exactly what Teddy Roosevelt did back in the trust-busting days and break these banks up. The point that Roosevelt was making is that it is bad for the economy when a handful of entities control industry after industry. They have a stranglehold on the economy. You got to break them up. And yet, I have heard very little discussion. I know there was an amendment from Sherrod Brown and Ted Kaufman, and I introduced legislation on this issue to start breaking them up. But frankly, their lobbyists and their money are such that it becomes very difficult to do that. But that is exactly what we should be doing. The legislation that I introduced last year, S-2746, the Too Big to Fail, Too Big to Exist Act, would break up these large financial institutions. That legislation would require the Secretary of Treasury to identify every single financial institution and insurance company in this country that is too big to fail within 90 days. And after 1 year, the Secretary of the Treasury would be required to break up these institutions so that their failure would not lead to the collapse of the U.S. or global economy. I think that is pretty obvious. We passed a financial reform bill, which I supported and got a major provision in there asking for disclosure of the Fed and an investigation of conflicts of interest at the Fed and an audit of the Fed during the financial crisis. But overall, I by no means think that that legislation went anywhere near far enough. I think it was a modest piece of legislation, and I think that's an issue we've got to revisit. In my view, Mr. President, and I worry very much about the future because I have the feeling in my stomach that that day is going to come around again when these huge financial institutions are tottering and they're going to go running to Washington and they're going to say, hey, you got to bail us out. In my view, if an institution is too big to fail, it is too big to exist, let us break them up so that we do not have to go through another bailout of Wall Street. Furthermore, I believe that when you have that kind of concentration of ownership, when you have 4 large financial institutions holding half the mortgages in this country, controlling 2/3 of the credit cards, and amassing 40% of all deposits, this is not good for a competitive economy. We're supposed to be living in free market capitalism, real competition. This is not free market competition. This is a huge concentration of ownership where a few people have enormous power over the economy and, with their wealth, the political life of this country. No single financial institution should be so large that its failure would cause catastrophic risk to millions of American jobs or to our nation's economic well-being. No single financial institution should have holdings so extensive that its failure could send the world's economy into crisis. We were there 2 years ago, and in many ways, despite the passage of the financial reform bill, we are even more there now. The big, huge financial institutions that we bailed out are bigger, more huge today. And interestingly enough, on that issue, Mr. President, it is not just progressives like myself who hold that view. There's some pretty conservative folks who are honest conservatives. Is concentration of ownership in a handful of entities, is that a conservative proposition? Not in terms of my understanding what conservatives are about. I don't think so. You have at least 3 Federal Reserve Bank presidents that support breaking up too big to fail banks. James Bullard, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, President and Chief Executive of the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, Kansas City Fed President Thomas M. Honig, and Dallas Fed President Richard W. Fisher. These guys don't have my political views. I am a proud progressive. My guess is they're conservatives. But anybody with an ounce of brains in your head understands that 4 large financial institutions that have assets that are more than half of the GDP of the United States of America places us, A, in a very dangerous position in terms of too big to fail, and B, it is just bad for a competitive economy. Is there any wonder why people are paying 25 to 30% interest rates on their credit cards? That's because these guys issue 2/3 of the credit cards in America. Is there any reason why they were issuing fraudulent mortgage packages to people? Because there is not the kind of competition that should be there. But this is not just Bernie Sanders' point of view. Here is what Kansas City Fed President Honig said, and I quote. Sorry, I don't have the date on this, but I think it was fairly recently. Last year. This is Kansas City Fed President Honig. Quote, I think they should be broken up. I think there's no reason why, as we've done in other instances, of finding the right mechanism to break them into their components. And in doing so, I think you'll make the financial system itself more stable. I think you will make it more competitive. And I think you will have long-run benefits over our current system, which mixes it and therefore leads to bailouts when crises occur. End of quote. This is Thomas Honig, the head of the Fed, Kansas City Fed. Right? Very simple statement, and he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. But, and I'm going to get to the reason why in a little while, we've not been able to do this. We've not been able to do this because Wall Street sends their lobbyists down here in droves, and Wall Street provides zillions of dollars in campaign contributions, and Wall Street fights like the Dickens to make sure that any strong provisions that some of us might bring up is defeated. Here is what the president of the Dallas Fed, Mr. Fisher, said, quote, based on my experience at the Fed, the marginal cost of too big to fail financial institutions easily dwarf their purported social and macroeconomic benefits. The risk posed by coddling too big to fail banks is simply too great. Winston Churchill said that, he's quoting Winston Churchill, in finance, everything that is agreeable is unsound, and everything that is sound is disagreeable. End of quote. That's from Churchill. And Mr. Fisher continues, I think the disagreeable but sound thing to do regarding institutions that are too big to fail is to dismantle them over time into institutions that can be prudently managed and regulated across borders. And this should be done before the next financial crisis, because we now know it surely cannot be done in the middle of a crisis. End of quote. And that's Dallas Fed President Mr. Fisher. Mr. President, they are already in the process of breaking up big banks in England. According to the Washington Post, the British government announced Tuesday, not this Tuesday, it's way back last year. The British government announced a while back that it will break up parts of major financial institutions bailed out by taxpayers. The British government, spurred on by European regulators, is forcing the Royal Bank of Scotland, Lloyds Banking Group, and Northern Rock to sell off parts of their operations. Europeans are calling for more and smaller banks to increase competition and eliminate the threat posed by banks so large that they must be regulated. They must be rescued. They must be rescued by taxpayers, no matter how they conducted their business, in order to avoid damaging the global financial system. Mr. President, very interesting development occurred on October 15th of last year. On October 15th, and as I mentioned earlier, Alan Greenspan, who was the chairman of the Fed before Mr. Bernanke, and I had our run-ins. Mr. Greenspan, along with Mr. Rubin and others, were the chief proponents, Larry Summers in there, were the chief proponents of deregulation of financial institutions. And Mr. Greenspan and I had more than a few arguments. But on October 15th of last year, Alan Greenspan, who admitted that his views on deregulation were wrong, and I give the man courage for at least admitting that he was wrong. Did a heck of a lot of damage, but at least he had the courage to admit that he was wrong. He was quoted in Bloomberg News as saying, and I quote, "If they're too big to fail, they're too big. In 1911, we broke up Standard Oil, so what happened? The individual parts became more valuable than the whole. Maybe that's what we need to do." End of quote. Alan Greenspan, the architect of deregulation, citing the fact that in 1911 we broke up Standard Oil. So here you have Greenspan, who helped cause this crisis, at least having the courage to understand that now is the time to begin breaking up these big financial institutions. They have enormous power over our economy. They have enormous power over our political life. Their lobbyists are all over this place. And you can't walk down the hall without bumping into some of their lobbyists. So we've got to start breaking them up, and the American people have got to be prepared for a major fight to take on these huge financial institutions. Mr. President, former Fed Chairman Paul Volcker, who has advised the Obama administration, supports breaking up big banks so that they no longer pose systemic risk to the entire economy. According to a recent article in the New York Times, Volcker said, and I quote, "People say I'm old-fashioned and banks can no longer be separated from non-bank activity. That argument brought us to where we are today," end of quote, Paul Volcker. I couldn't agree more. That's what I'm talking about. You've got to start breaking up four financial institutions which led us into the economic disaster we're in right now, that remain much too big to fail, that we're going to have to bail out again and again and again, and that today have a stranglehold on our economy. The New York Times said that under Volcker's plan, quote, J.P. Morgan Chase would have to give up the trading operations acquired from Bear Stearns. Bank of America and Merrill Lynch would go back to being separate companies. Goldman Sachs could no longer be a bank holding company. End of quote. That's exactly what needs to be happening. The reality is, and I come from a small state, we have community banks. Here's the irony, Mr. President. The banks in Vermont, in the midst of all of this financial disaster, they did just fine. They are small, locally owned banks. They know the people they lend money to. The CEOs are not making hundreds of millions of dollars in profit. They know their community. They know what loans made sense. Now, I may be old-fashioned like Mr. Volcker, but I think that's what banking is about. To lend out money to people in the productive economy, the business community that can use the money to expand, create jobs, to homeowners that need that money to buy a home, not to be living in your own world, engaged in a huge gambling casino, producing and selling.
Hello everyone, we're back. How's everybody doing? We are once again posting, etc. I usually don't stream on Wednesdays. It's usually my day off, but I was like, fuck it. I mean, yeah, there's a debate, I might as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously the news cycle is fucking wildly fast. Regeneron, I don't know what that is. Oh, is that the... Oh no, I have no clue what you mean. Yeah, I mean, the news cycle is incredible. So there's a shit ton of things that happens. Obviously there's the fucking Trump video. What's his name? Chris Christie is on a ventilator now. Which, you know, after saying, oh, is there a new Randy Rainbow? That's the real fucking news right there. That's like, that's some real fucking coverage we're talking about. Jesus Christ. If Donald got fired, Jesus Christ, he sucks. We'll watch that at some point, I guess. That was a rumor? Oh, okay, is it unconfirmed? Chris Christie is doing great. Totally fine and normal. Okay. Right, I shouldn't have questioned him. Also, this is a very funny post. Let me Jacob on Twitter. It's just like this is the state of the election. Like this, I retweeted it, but this is the state of the election, folks. Hope you reach your sub goal. Thank you so much. Like I guess the person who loses the election has to like almost die right before it, and then come out and do like a Weekend at Bernie's situation.
All cops are bad cops.
Visiblers. Thank you for Jeff Bezos bucks. I guess, I mean, it was sort of first as tragedy, second as farce. I feel like most of world history at this point is first as farce, and then as farce. Like, there's no... It's more the eternal recurrence in it. Like, it's if Nietzsche's idea of the eternal recurrence was like a metaphysical position about the actual world, and not like even if that happened, you would have to embrace it, which is sort of his point. But yeah, everything is repeating, and it's continually repeating, and the reason why it's more absurd each time is because it keeps happening in the same way. Can I explain hyperreality? I mean, like Baudrillard, sort of. I mean, probably not well. But yeah, I mean, all of this is extremely fun. And, you know, explain hyperreality or I'll fucking blank you. Don't dumb it down into some vague shit. And yeah, I mean, like, everything about it, right? Let's look at the fucking... Everything about it. Like, the fact that they've just, like... For some reason, doubled down on the fucking spray paint. Not spray paint, on the spray tan.
It's your favorite president, and I'm standing in
He's opening like a fucking like
front of the Oval Office at the White House, which is always an exciting place to be. I got back a day ago from
This
Walter
feels
Reed
like
Medical
it's a parody.
Center. I spent 4 days there and didn't have to. I could have stayed at the White House, but the doctor said, because you're president,
what if you do if you don't understand
everything?
I don't.
You tell me what
matter.
to do, and I'm going to listen. These are great professionals. They've done a fantastic job. And by the way, not only at Walter Reed, all over the country,
Yeah,
we
his
have the
voice
greatest
sounds rough.
doctors in the world. We have the greatest nurses.
I mean, he's like doing. There's a huge cut at 150. Yeah,
the
we'll get
greatest
to that.
first responder.
He looks like shit,
Law
man. I
enforcement,
mean,
by the way, incredible.
There's not much I can
firefighters,
add to
everybody.
it.
They're just great. We have great people. This is a great
All
country.
cops are bad.
But I spent 4 days
Listen,
there.
if I can't
and
pop on my
I went
opponent,
in, I
then
wasn't
what even
feeling
is
so
the
hot.
point of having a
And
debate?
within a very short
Figuratively,
period of
nobody.
time, they
Thank you
gave
for
me
the 3 months.
Regeneron.
Absolutely.
It's called Regeneron.
Oh, that's what he was on. Okay. Thank you for the 3 months. We'll get to that too.
And other things too, but I think this was the key. But they gave me Regeneron.
In Trump's
and
expert
it
opinion.
was like unbelievable. I felt
What
good
else? I
immediately.
think Dr.
felt as
Dipples
good
gave a
3
gift
days
sub
ago as I do
as
now.
well. I missed. Ewan
So
Povey.
I just want to say,
Thank you for the
we
six
have Regeneron,
months.
We have a very similar drug from Eli Lilly.
Anxious Comrade, thank you
and
for the
they're
4
coming out,
months.
and we're
This is
trying
just
to get them
before I
on
went
an
live.
emergency
Or
basis. We've authorized it. I've authorized it. And if
Dear
you're in the
Shannon, thank you for the
hospital
100
and you're
bits.
feeling really bad, I think we're going to work it
No,
so that you get
TikTok
them and
say,
you're going
that's
to get them
okay. It
free.
happens.
And especially if you're a senior, we're going to get you in there quick. We have hundreds of thousands of doses that are just about ready.
Trump still thinks that everyone goes to Walter Reed. He's unable to comprehend that there are other consciousnesses that experience the world in a way that is not the same as
I
he
have
does.
emergency use authorization all set, and we got to get it signed now. And you're going to get better. You're going to get better really fast. This is things that nobody even thought of a few months ago. The job that the scientists, the labs, everybody have done is incredible. Then in addition to that, you have various other drugs that help a lot. But these, I've used
Oh,
these.
shit.
I know they call them therapeutic.
Sierra Pixel Art.
But to me,
Thank you for
it
the
wasn't
10 gift
therapeutic.
subs.
It just made me better.
Pog.
Okay, I call that a cure. So
I
wanna
call
get
that a
these things
cure.
done. So
I mean, again,
We have-
he still has it, and
we like Dick, yes.
he's still very unwell.
To get them done, we have to get them approved.
You know what we'll do? How about this? How about this? We'll listen to Trump. We'll listen to Trump.
Come back.
Oh wait, that's the wrong one.
I want to get them to the hospitals where people
How's
are feeling
that?
badly. It's much more important.
Actually,
to
no,
me
it
than the
ruins
vaccine.
it. We gotta see him. Let's just do it's the hype train. We'll do fucking. We'll do this for a second. Here, thank you for the 10 gift subs. Real scam train hours. Who the fuck up? Folks, we got 26 very cool emotes, tier 1 emotes, and actually we are 85 sub points away from unlocking another one. Pog. Very cool stuff like Max Sterner doing the Pog champ face. Mind the Gap, thank you for the 100 bits. And also, if you give 1,000 bits, I believe, in total, you get the copy emote as well, which is one of 3 emotes of me pointing at the screen and then it says something. Astral Bugs, thank you for continuing your gift sub. You updated Weird Champ? Let's see.
Do we like Dick? Yes.
Do we like that? I feel like it's good as is, like the slight zoom in. Oh Maya, thank you for the 10 gift subs as well. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you so much. Tall Laura, thank you for the 400 bits. Did I miss anyone? I don't think so. It's more Costanza. I mean, Costanza does the weird champ face, I guess. He's ahead of his time. Too much forehead, I guess. Costanza totally was ahead of his time. The Timberlands being like a white guy in New York wearing Timbs. What else? He loved. I mean, there was an episode where he kept saying, "We live in a society." Irate Lamp, thank you for the 8 months. I know there's that joke of modern day Seinfeld,
1 month
you know,
streak.
Jerry have iPad, but I think that's basically what it was. It's just it was Costanza had the iPad. Zach Cordy, thank you for the 800 bits. Yeah, Sun's debate is ideal, but we won't get it, I don't think. Talora, thank you for the 100 more bits. Yes, here's the copy mode. Where is it? Let me post it. It's just, it's pretty much how I described it. Me pointing at the screen, it says cop. Sexual, thank you for the 150 bits. Lennon is daddy. Thank you for converting your Prime Gaming to a tier 1.
Do we like Dick? Yes.
George is also the Joker, that's true. Oh, hey Colin, how's it going?
Do we like Dick? Yes.
I mean, Seinfeld this is not a controversial opinion, but a very funny show. Just at work? Nice. That's praxis, right? Earning your wage, watching Liv posting. Please ban the word. Oh, you're right. Ban the word hard on black and white.
Like dick? Yes.
Wow. This says a lot about our society. People faking the tier 2 emote. Wow. Didn't realize it's over. There are different levels of the lizard emote. Level 2 is tier 2 and it's silver, and level 3 is a gold one. Tier 3. Fell asleep watching last night and woke up to this dancing lizard. That's hilarious.
What the fuck did you just fucking say about
Let me. Alright, yeah, I guess I will ban that word. No. If you want the black and white lizard, you gotta pay me $10.
what the fuck
Them's
did
the
you just
rules.
fucking say
I
about
live like a capitalist every day. Yeah, what else has happened recently? I guess it's mainly just the COVID shit and the debates. I'm trying to think of other shit. JK Vince? Thank you for the Jeff Bezos bucks.
All cops are bad cops.
Watch the new Krish blog? Of course.
Posting hard.
Of course. I will never say no to a Krish blog. I like the comic. Thank you for the 100 bits. Did she compare herself to the Black Panther Party? I think she did. I thought she highlighted that like the public lunch programs were sponsored by them, and that she was gonna continue that. Isn't that more so what happens? Oh, Mexi did another interview with Richard Wolff. Okay, we can watch that.
Okay, welcome
Oh yeah, Derek Chauvin posted Bond. Yeah, which is like awful, but I guess expected, right?
All cops are bad cops.
AOC confirms Third World is Maoist. It's 1,000 bits, I'm sorry, not 100. Did I say 100? I don't think I did. Hold on. There we go. Okay. No more posting fake tier 2 emotes. It's not allowed. Matt Iglesias said that they were actually started by segregationists. I mean, who's that fucking dude that had that take that like it's fucked up to support the Black Panthers like lunch programs because it was like a ethno-nationalist indoctrination program? That's so cool. You really understand history, man. Thank you for the hype train, everybody. We'll have to see it. 27 subs. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's go back to Donnie. Let's look at the cut, because there's a cut, right? That's
All
like
set,
obvious.
and we got to get it signed now, and you're going to get better. You're going to get better really fast. This is things that nobody even thought of a few months ago. The job that the scientists, the labs, everybody have done is incredible. Then in addition to that, you have various other...
Oh my god, that's so fucking
Everybody
obvious.
have done is incredible. Then in addition to that, you have various
That's so... They didn't even try to hide it.
other drugs that help a lot, but these, I view these, and now they call
It's so... they changed the zoom.
scientists, the labs, everybody have done is incredible. Then in addition to that, you have various other
You hear the cut in the the audio too.
drugs that
Like it's not even blended
help a
properly.
lot, but these, I view these, and now they call
Damn.
them therapeutic. But to
Yeah,
me,
I
it
mean, he's
wasn't
doing, like,
therapeutic.
he's
It just
doing
made me
shit.
better. Okay, I call that a cure. So I want to get these things done.
He
So
just he
we
won't
have
have
to get 'em done.
anything.
We have to get them approved. I want to get them to the hospitals where people are feeling badly. It's much more important to me than the vaccine. But for
Yeah.
the vaccines, we have many companies that are in final stages for the.
They like the comic thing with 1,000 bits. You get the copy mode. We'll have to see it. I'm sure what probably happened was he was basically told like we're not getting a vaccine in the next
vaccines,
month.
Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, all great companies, but many of them and we're going to have a great vaccine very, very shortly. I think we should have it before the election, but frankly, the politics gets involved, and that's okay. They want to play their games. It's going to be right after the election.
Folks, the production of scientific knowledge is inherently political.
But we did it. Nobody else. Nobody else would have been able to do it. The FDA has acted as quickly as they've ever acted in history. There's never been a time, and no.
Folks, it's biopolitics. Folks, the vaccines, they're a technology of control.
Presidents ever pushed them like I pushed them either, to be honest with you. But the
Regeneron
FDA
is made from human embryo stem
proving
cells.
things.
I mean, that's like the closest there actually is in science to whatever the fuck the Q people think adrenochrome is.
A matter of weeks that used to take.
Particularly because all of the people who are like QAnon think that abortion is murder. So you're literally, if abortion is murder and that's a child or whatever, you're literally like injecting like child cells into your body.
A matter of years. So we have these drugs, Eli Lilly, and
I
the
mean,
others that are so good, but they are, in my opinion, remember this, they're going to say that they're therapeutic, and I guess they are therapeutic. Some people don't know how to define therapeutic. I view it different. It's a cure. For me, I walked in, I didn't feel good. A short 24 hours later, I was feeling great. I wanted to get out of the hospital.
Overlord
and that's what I want for everybody. I want
I
everybody
saw that video. Yeah,
to
yeah.
be
Thank
given
you
the
for
same
the
treatment as
9
your
months
president.
script. Nothing wrong.
Because I feel great. I feel like
I feel great.
So I think this was a
Amazing.
blessing from God.
Amazing.
That I caught it. This was a blessing in disguise.
And you know, we knew this was gonna happen. That he was gonna do it to downplay. Of course, the obvious. I mean, the absurdity of it is like him struggling to survive while downplaying the virus.
I caught it. I heard about this drug. I said, let me take it. It was my suggestion. I said, let me take it. And it was incredible the way it worked. Incredible.
I'm sure Regeneron stock
and
is
I
fucking.
think if I didn't catch it, we'd be looking at that like a number of other drugs. But it really did a fantastic job. I want to get for you what I got, and I'm going to make it free. You're not going to pay for it. It wasn't your fault that this happened. It was China's fault. And China's going to pay a big price, what they've done to this country. China's going to pay a big price, what they've done to the world. This was China's fault. And just remember that. So we're going to get you the drug. It's going to be free. We're going to get it into the hospitals as soon as you can, as soon as we can. And you'll see some amazing things happen because we have our military.
Wait, can I get a source on the Regeneron being made from fucking like fetal stem cells or whatever? Because I'm looking, I have no clue. If this is a proper source? Regen COVID-2 is not made with human stem cells. Regeneron told heavy. Using human embryonic stem cells. The particular discovery program did not involve human stem cells. I have no capacity to properly.
Is doing the distribution. It's called logistics. And they
Embryonic
deliver
liver cells?
hundreds of thousands of troops in a matter of days. This is easy stuff for them. Our general's all ready. We're waiting for the emergency use authorization. And the drug companies have just made a lot of it.
It's only possible as a result of research surrounding like without the human embryonic stem cell and fetal tissue research. Okay. I see. So it's not directly, but it's like contingent on it.
So hopefully this is going to be not just a therapeutic. It's going to be much more than a therapeutic. You're going to
That's
get
less
better. You're
funny,
gonna get
but it's
better
still
fast,
funny.
just like I did. So again, a blessing in disguise. Good luck.
Okay. Good luck. You too, Mr. President. Good luck. Stand back and stand by. And of course, you know, they're not doing anything. What is it? They called a lid on the fucking on doing anything for the president today. He fucking got his ass because he'd always say Biden did that. Yeah, he's clearly very sick with the virus. But yeah, I think for the most part, a lot of the potentially fatal symptoms would only happen in the next like literally 2 weeks. So it's gonna keep it's gonna be a while before, like, if Trump dies, it will take a while. It won't be the next couple days. Yeah, he's gonna keep posting we know he's gonna keep posting regardless. Is it 8 p.m. Eastern time? I thought it was 9. Is the debate in 30 minutes? Oh yeah, it feels so uneasy to hear him. It's 9 p.m. Thank you. It's so uneasy to hear him laugh. I don't like that. It's like a villain laugh. He laughs like a baby.
That is really impressive. The tactile feedback is tremendous.
He laughs like a... If you slowed down the video of a baby laughing, it would sound like that. It's weird to think that Jeff Bezos has emotions and feels joy at things. Thoughts on tankies being anti-Armenia? Wait, how are they possibly anti-Armenia? Like, genuinely, what's the justification of being like? You mean, are they pro like Azerbaijan? Can you explain that to me? I think most of them aren't. I would imagine, if anything, because Armenia is just vaguely aligned with Russia. That's my boss, I guess. I guess it is, technically, if you think about it. This says a lot about our society. Anyways. Yeah, I mean, that's what I assumed, is it's like 3 Twitter accounts with like 8 flags in their bio saying that. But you know, I'm very curious to see the justification for it in the first place. Okay, what else? What other videos? It's very interesting how it's most of this. I'm just looking at like the What's Poppin' Tankies. Yeah. Looking at like the Trump videos he's uploaded, it's mainly about Kamala, as opposed to Biden, which I guess sort of makes sense. Let's see. Joe Biden in his own words. Let's look at this.
Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community.
Oh yeah, that one was bad. No, they got them there.
Figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Yeah, that was.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Yeah, that was also very bad.
My Democratic colleagues don't like me saying this. I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black. And other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind.
They're gonna put you all back in chains.
All right, that is rough.
The first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
It was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputation.
Yeah, this is a smart ad.
United States senators
This is a smart ad.
built their reputation and career on the segregation of race in this country. Are you going to apologize like Cory Booker has?
Apologize for what? For what?
It's so funny the photo they use, by the way. Anyways. Yeah. I guess that's yeah, I was just curious how they're running it. It's very interesting to see the like not pro Black Lives Matter, because Trump can't say that, but like posturing. Oh yeah, I saw this before, Ray. And I need to read it because it sounds very interesting. If anyone wants to read where the neocons went. I will link it. I won't. It's relatively long. I don't like reading things on stream, but I will link it. Okay. I mean, yeah. The obvious point is that that's hypocritical of Trump, but that also, those quotes, for the most part, do look bad, even within context. Anyways. Are there any other videos of Trump we haven't watched of him recently? I think I've made this joke that Trump lives in Minecraft land, where like during 2 minutes of like uncut video, the sky will get slightly darker. We're doing bingo, absolutely. No, okay, yeah. The last one was this one, which we watched. This feels like it was so fucking far away. Like it feels so long ago. Okay, what else? What else can we talk about other than obviously the presidential debate? Oh yeah, I mean this take is like, is this who the fuck is this again? This is like a sort of new left progressive guy. He's the one who emailed Noam Chomsky. I think the debate's on C-SPAN. I don't think you're gonna have to sync up. It's it's Zayed the activist. Yeah, except the A and the I are switched. First off, like, yes, they did do the like personality stuff. I guess you could call it cult of personality. It's sort of Maoist, which, you know, to historicize the Black Panthers, they had a lot of pretty good reasons to like Mao, especially in their context. Especially the very explicit support that like Mao gave to them, etc. But beyond that, like, promote ethno-national. I love, my favorite way of promoting ethno-nationalism is by like feeding poor white people, and making them like your political program. That's a classic. I mean, you know, you can look up photos of the people who are being fed in these programs, and they're not all black. I think there was a specific, obviously, appeal to, like, impoverished black communities, nationwide with these programs, but not necessarily. Yeah, like the Rainbow Coalition's relationship to Fred Hampton. I mean, it's like the idea that any serious leftist could call the Black Panthers ethno-nationalist is like so absurd. It's like so apparent, like so immediately, clearly a false belief. This is Ziad. What is this? Oh, okay. Tweet unavailable. Did they delete it? Save Cato? Like the Cato Institute? Oh, jeez. Is he like a grifter trying to appear leftist? What was the take he had that made, that got this? Okay, yeah, he's like a joke. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. He's like, you could maybe call like Farrakhan an ethno-nationalist, although that even feels like it's misattribution or whatever. But like the Black Panther Party, Jesus fucking Christ. What is Ziad the? Oh yes, Brace taking heads, absolutely, as always. He did it, I guess. No, I probably didn't say that. What, Black Panthers were loudly pro-Palestine? That wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I mean, it's like they had an anti-colonial Marxist position. Anyways, so that's, every fucking week there is some leftist that makes that take, that says that how actually is it that white nationalism and black nationalism are any different? And it's just like, again, if that's something you have to, if that's a legible concern for you, then I don't, just go fucking read a book. It's like did Huey write about women and gay liberation in the 70s? Yeah, it's not a surprise. Silent on the issues, but he like talked about them. Yeah, right. It's good. It's good stuff. Is Karl Marx? I mean, with like Marx's sort of vague, I guess you could call it anti-Semitism. And his opinion on colonialism, which he said that like he supported decolonial movements like intellectually but not materially. He had a lot of weird opinions. You just need to like historicize. Basically, I think it's not even Vosh. Vosh likes the Black Panthers. It's not even. It's like a which, regardless of how vocally I disagreed with that whole arc, it's not even like it's a different level than the take that Vosh had.
There are a couple of other
Marx was sort of Jewish. His mother was Jewish, but he was raised Protestant.
minority situations, or at least cleavages, on which I would like your comments. There are many groups of women today who are all categorized as women's liberation, and yet again, they represent a variety of groups. Only some of
You have to
whom
historicize
are
Marx.
politically conscious.
Basically, like,
and there are
it's the
other
same thing with
groups like the homosexual groups.
Marx's idea of like trans people. It's like, well, he wouldn't have known that was a thing.
Their relationship to what you're talking about.
He had no way of idea. You know.
They definitely have a place in the revolutionary movement, the Women's Liberation Front, the Women's Liberation Front. Some of the groups are politically conscious. Those groups of women who are politically conscious, we would like to unite with them. We'll do bingo in a bit. And we would like to also have unity with the homosexual groups who are also politically conscious. We've had meetings with the homosexual representatives of the homosexual group and also the Women's Liberation Front. Now, the homosexual group have been oppressed so much and so badly until it was hard to convince them that the Black Panther Party is relating to them. But we see that homosexuals are human beings, and they're oppressed because of the bourgeois mentality and the bourgeois treachery that exists in this country.
Yeah, it's a good... Does this look like ethno-nationalism?
Tries to legislate sexual activity. Most of the laws are laws not to promote freedom, which is, I believe, that one of the most essential things that man universally strives after, whether it's internal freedom or external freedom. In other words, freedom from compulsions and obsessions. Man is not happy when he feels forced. These are the internal things when he's obsessed and feels compelled, whether it's through religious reasons or backwards values reasons, that even if he carries those values, that he's unhappy.
Anyways, and we don't have to watch all this. Yeah, it's good. I'm a homosexual representative, absolutely. National Guard units put on standby, possible civil unrest. I guess that's not a surprise, right? That, which reminds me, I need to do another charity stream thing soon. For like bail funds. I'll probably be playing, I said this before, just like trying to beat Battle for Bikini Bottom in one sitting. Although it's like, it takes like 30 hours, so I'll probably only play for like 20. I'll do that at some point soon. Anyways. Well, yeah, okay, fuck. Someone linked this, so we have to watch it. We have to watch it, folks. I'm sorry. If Donald got fired.
Back to the first presidential debate. Welcome back to the first presidential...
First year anniversary. When did I first stream? Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, that would be cute.
Debate.
How many subs? 20.
Gentlemen, before the time comes for you to lip sync for your lives, why don't we begin with some preliminary questions? Joe? How you doing?
Well, first of all...
Okay, on board. Mr. President, here's a softball for you. Can I just get you to, if you don't mind, maybe condemn white supremacy real quick?
Yeah, get him.
Just... Maybe you didn't.
Yeah, get his ass. Oh, yeah,
just pours gasoline in the fire. constantly.
Vice President
If
Biden,
you look at the polls, I'm doing better than any Republican has done in a long time because they saw what you did.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Dibbles. Thank you for the 20 gift subs. I was wondering if someone would actually do it. It's very funny. Thank you so much. Thank you for making me turn it off. Let's watch this.
Welcome to some more news. On today's episode,
Cody Johnson's
Melania
thing.
Trump finally wins the war against Christmas.
I'm so fucking sad. Thank you again, Dr. Dibbles, for the 20 gift subs to make me not watch that. I was down. I was gonna watch the whole thing. I'm so sad that this shit came out literally right before the COVID stuff because no one gets to talk about her war on Christmas.
Like him, I support him. I don't say enough. I don't do enough. No, where I am, I'm working like my ass off. I know. That Christmas stuff that, who gives a about Christmas stuff?
That rocks so hard.
To do it, right?
Yes, as it turns out, the
Who gives
war
a
was
fuck
coming
about
from
Christmas?
inside the house. Also, Trump only paid $750 in taxes in 2016 and 2017. And during the first presidential debate, he told fascist street gang the Proud Boys to stand by. And then everyone argued about what he meant by that, except for the Proud Boys, who knew exactly what he meant.
Yeah, of course.
And let's see, what else? What's going on? It's kind of a slow news day, so I've just got I signed a blank sheet of paper to show that I'm doing the news to prove it to you. So little duckies were filmed swimming in a kitchen sink.
Oh, that's nice.
Sorry,
we love
hard
to
at
see
work.
that.
There's got to be something else. I'm reading a bunch of papers, more blank papers. Oh, right, okay, duh. Bustle reports that pumpkin spice glazed turkey recipes are going viral. Just like the president because he's got COVID!
This is an NBC News special report. Here's Kate Snow.
Good morning. We come on the air this morning because the president's medical team is about to provide an update on his condition. The president remains at Walter Reed Medical Center after arriving there on Friday night. His doctor, Sean Connolly, speaking now.
Frequent ups and downs over the course, particularly when a patient is being so closely watched 24 hours a day.
Dick? Yes.
We review and debate every finding, compare it to existing science and literature, weighing the risks and benefits of every intervention.
Yes, it turns out the orange man is feeling bad. The thing is, we just don't know how serious Trump's case of COVID is. Partly because it's a continuing story, partly because the information we receive is
lying,
suspect,
is literally lies.
Partly because the president looks like shit. But anyway, as far as we know, his official doctor assures us that the president is just fine. We shouldn't worry about him taking oxygen. I'm sure he's on a drop of the old dexamethasone, a highly potent immunosuppressant used in serious COVID cases. And Mark Meadows, his chief of staff, reportedly talked off the record to reporters, saying on Saturday, October 3rd, the president's vitals over the last 24 hours were very concerning, and the next 48 hours will be critical in terms of his care. We're still not on a clear path to a full recovery. All the while, his official mask continually slipping down from his nose. Whoopsie doops. The following day, Trump's doctor said, we're in a bit of uncharted territory when a patient receives such therapies
Trump doing white
so
genocide
early
stuff?
in course of disease.
Trump did a white genocide?
Do we like Dick? Yes.
Biden supports Cory Booker bill that will force low-income housing in suburbs, which will lower property values and bring crime to your neighborhoods. Okay, yeah. So he's basically saying, like, it's just coded, like, the poor people will come and do crime in like the rich neighborhoods. And of course it's like very specifically a black person's bill.
All cops are bad cops.
Why get a hot leftist GF when I can become a hot leftist GF?
I could not agree more. Wait. Oh, Bubba Gump Scrimp. Thank you for 3 months.
Doctor was asked when Trump's last negative test was, and the doctor responded that they're not interested in looking backwards. Good sign. When asked if the president has damaged
he had
his
it since
lungs,
Wednesday. They
he wouldn't
knew.
say no.
They
because
fucking
of HIPAA.
knew.
Although one can probably
this is a great
knowing
fucking.
Donald Trump.
This is so good. Giuliani tests positive for a slew of obscure bat diseases unrelated to COVID-19.
But if the answer was no, they would have said no.
Yeah, it's very
And
funny.
there are many reports of how he's doing really horribly, some from our own eyes, some coming from Kellyanne Conway's daughter. And Trump went against all advice to stay in the hospital so that he could triumphantly return to the White House, having only been infected for a few days, while he takes off his mask and visibly has trouble breathing.
He got over it,
He,
folks.
of course, tried to leave the hospital the previous day, but doctors wouldn't let him. And
You
the
can't deny the
compromise
Chad optics.
was for him to get in a hermetically
Can't
sealed
deny the
rolling
Chad
box
optics.
with other people in it so he could wave at his cult for 30 seconds. So that's the information we have at the time of this recording. The president is in the first days of having this terrible virus and very obviously trying to pretend that he's fine and cured, but he is very obviously probably not.
Yep.
So I can only assume that when we release this video,
He infected the
breaking
nuclear
news,
football guy,
Mr.
yes.
Trump is on the mend, or maybe rapidly deteriorating, or rest in peace, Mr. President, or rest in peace, 50% of congressional Republicans.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you're looking at is the origin.
I mean, he had it. Fucking Christ.
Event.
The coronavirus infection
Mr.
of
You're gonna
Donald
stream a
Trump,
Toronto FC
Melania
game?
Trump,
Is
Hope
that-
Hicks,
that's
Kellyanne
football,
Conway,
right?
Trump campaign manager
I
Bill
don't really watch
Stepien,
it.
Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah,
Toronto
President
FC?
of Notre Dame John Jenkins, Republican Senator of
Oh,
North
'cause you had
Carolina Tom
football.
Tillis, GOP Chairwoman
soccer,
Ronna
not football.
McDaniel, Republican Senator Ron
I guess
Johnson of
football
Utah,
technically.
ex-governor of New Jersey Chris Christie, Press Secretary Katie
I thought of
McEnany, and Trump's personal
foot.
aide Nicholas
Yeah, I thought of
Luna,
soccer.
and this just
I don't know why I
in,
said football.
also
I'm not
Stephen
British.
Miller.
That's right, baby.
Can likely be traced back to, or at least spread at, the Saturday, September 26th Rose Garden celebration of the nomination of Amy
There's a
Coney
rumor
Barrett,
that Christie
the
is on the
judge
ventilator.
the Trump administration is desperately trying to shove into the open Supreme Court spot before the election because we live in a
They're pulling out of Minnesota. Oh fuck. That's a big deal. They're pulling out of Minnesota. And they know they're fucked. They're like, we have to consolidate. This is like what fucking Hillary did and what the Hillary people did on election day, basically, where it was like, okay, fuck, we lost 4. We just need the battleground states. That's it. We just need the firewall in the Midwest. Yeah, I mean, he's fucking lost. It's not the same as fucking 2016. It's very different. It's much worse.
very cool and functional democracy. The event was held outdoors and indoors with close contact and no masks, which doctors like to call a viral load orgy. Now,
I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, Nate, Well, that's the thing is, he can't really, again, if the Electoral College says that he loses, he's fucked. He can't contest. He cannot. The only way he can contest is through mail-ins, which is why, there's literally no way that, Democrats are going to win Texas, for instance, because to do mail-in voting in Texas, you need, a non-COVID specific excuse. So there's fucking no way there's a blue Texas. There are people, Biden was sort of, risking it and putting a bunch of money in to try to make, Texas be in play, but, there's no fucking way. But, what was I talking? But, other than mail-in stuff and recounting stuff, there's not much you can do. Nate Aluminum.
Now, I bet you sickos think this is all some kind of big joke. I'm going to sit here and make fun of our president for getting COVID. You disgusting, perverted ghouls. How dare you find it funny that the president caught COVID? The president of the United States of America, who a Cornell University study found is the leading cause of misinformation about coronavirus, accounting for 38% of the world's misunderstanding of the virus. Sure, yuck it up, just because he spent months playing down the pandemic, which he admitted to Bob Woodward.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't want to create a panic.
And sure, he made dangerously wrong statements like, it's going to disappear one day. It's like a miracle. It'll disappear. And that 99% of COVID-19 cases are totally harmless, even though the WHO says at least 15% of COVID-19 are often very serious and 5% are life-threatening, not to mention the long-term lung, cardiac damage, and fatigue survivors are experiencing. Just because Trump has repeatedly made fun of masks, including...
I wonder how big, like, let's say COVID is, like, cured and we're done with it. I wonder if you look at, like, you know, like those mortality graphs in which, like, you know, there is 200,000 more mortalities in, like, America now than there was last year. I wonder the uptick even after COVID is done that we will see as a result of, like, a lot of lingering symptoms.
During the debate with Biden, literal days
I wonder
before
how significant that'll
positive,
be.
doesn't mean it's cool that Trump got the virus after an unmasked event, okay? Just because his policies,
it's
such
just
as
poetic.
rushing reopenings.
Right?
I said earlier today that I hope we can do this
Shut
by
Rob.
Easter.
Thank you for tuning.
I think that would be a great thing for our country, and we're all working very hard to make that a reality.
And just because he disbanded the pandemic response team of experts, and just because his misinformation and lack of action ruined any plans for contact tracing, and just because Trump may have abandoned plans for a national testing strategy because they thought the virus would primarily impact Democratic blue states, showing a ghoulishly politically motivated disregard for millions of human lives, none of this means Trump getting COVID is funny or to be played for goofs, you sick bastards. And
yeah, I mean, yeah, right. Mail ballot drop-off size. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Texas is red. There's fucking no way. If Texas is blue, that shows like such a deep level. Like that's like Democrat super majority in the House and the Senate. That's how much they have to fucking win by nationally.
Just because Trump bullied his staff into taking off their masks, yelling at them in meetings to get that thing off if they were wearing a mask, which probably directly led to the mass infection of himself.
I mean, they can't... Republicans are so fucking incompetent.
Everyone in his circle doesn't mean he deserves COVID or that it's the least bit funny.
I don't know. Maybe the difference... I think maybe both parties are incompetent. Oh yeah, we'll start doing bingo in a second. But maybe it's both parties are incompetent, but the Republicans at least understand how power works. Because they can't even fucking, like, middle of the pandemic, and they're so incompetent, they can't even fucking wear a mask.
I mean, is this clip of Sideshow Bob stepping on a bunch of rakes funny to you?
What if this happened under Obama? I mean, it would still be bad. I would classify it as like not particularly good right now in Canada, even because you know they don't have a universal healthcare system. They don't have a system of universal healthcare. It would be a lot better though, clearly.
If a murderer going on a stabbing spree slipped on a banana peel and stabbed himself in his own ass, would that be funny to you? You vicious circling vultures, Huh? How about the president signing a blank piece of paper, pretending to do work while in the hospital? Pretending so much, in fact, that two of the photos in different rooms were taken 10 minutes apart.
Awesome.
Is that funny?
Awesome.
You heartless monsters. Yeah, it's very funny. And despite what stiff-necked tie-wearing pundits, thank God, tell you, it's actually okay not to pray for Trump's swift recovery. And it's also okay to maybe find it a little tiny bit absolutely fucking hilarious that Trump was hoisted by his own COVID petard. But facts don't care about your feelings. Ben Shapiro isn't so happy, snarking that he finds it ironic that the blue check mark...
I mean, the you know, yeah, also a check mark. The quote tweet, what was it? It was by Bad Takes, Brendan, where it's just the god-awful fucking Ben Shapiro tweet about, like, Trayvon Martin dying.
Left might not be too empathetic to a president famous for his cruelty and who has killed hundreds of thousands of Americans through his actions and inactions. The fact is, the left doesn't care about Ben's feelings, you guys. It's not fair. Ben, of course, is famously an expert on empathy. Here he is, empathetically mocking the murder of a literal child. And here he is, empathetically making fun of Bernie Sanders' heart attack. And here he is, kind-heartedly making fun of Hillary Clinton when she had pneumonia on the campaign trail. Which, by the way, Trump mocked as well.
But here's a woman She's supposed to fight all of these different things, and she can't make it 15 feet to her car. Give me a break.
Because, obviously, Ben isn't special.
It's so, like, particularly because of the making fun of Hillary for having pneumonia stuff, and pneumonia being, like, a very common effect of, like, a very severe case of coronavirus. Like, the fact that he was making fun of her for having pneumonia, like, right before the last election, it's so, like, you couldn't write something that was more, like, on the nose. I feel like I'm taking a class on ancient humor right now, and, like, particularly ancient Greek humor, and, like, it's like it was written by a fucking, like, Greek playwright. It's like, it's a comedy. It's like so specifically.
He's just always the easy example. The most obvious avatar for this kind of thing. Hypocritical Republican is redundant. Obviously, hypocritical
Oh, okay. Saving VP debate ticket for Tupac. Cause Kamala said that she listened to Tupac in university when Tupac hadn't made music yet. I mean, that's not that good of an own. You can tell they're fucking.
All cops are bad cops.
Callie Comey, thank you for the 9 months. You can tell that they're like their campaign digs are not nearly as good as they were 4 years ago. Because it's like, who did Trump reserve a seat for in 2016 debate? Like, Juanita Broadwick, right? It was like, was it her specifically? It was like a couple of the people that Bill Clinton sexually assaulted. And that was like a very smart retort. Like, think about the comparison of that to this. It's not even, I mean, this is just weak. No one gives a shit about this. No one cares.
Republicans are going to be cry bullies and demand we respect the president after he gave himself COVID. But even MSNBC's Rachel Maddow is wagging her finger at us.
And never even tried to quit, despite knowing the risks of lung cancer from smoking. And then that person who you know got lung cancer. How do you react to that? Right? Well, part of the way you react is that you understand why they likely got it, right? Your instinct might even be to blame them for getting it. You go right ahead, right? Enjoy that Schadenfreude. But also, you're a human
bingo,
being
yeah, sorry.
in this situation. If your friend has lung cancer now, regardless of what you feel about he or she, how he or she got it, right? Once you find out that
the real thing I'm canceling her for is not just saying they. Doc Protagonist, thank you for your biggest
and hope and try to save them.
God, I hate it when my smoker friend is the president of the United States and uses his position
and causes
as the most
everyone
powerful
to smoke
person in the
and
world
killing
to
200,000
kill
people.
hundreds of thousands of people by lying about the dangers of smoking and exposing others to getting that cancer, which in this scenario can get caught quickly by breathing near people with it. Really makes me want to kick him out of my D&D group. So Maddow may call it Schadenfreude, but I think it's more complex than that. Trump getting sick with COVID isn't just about him suffering. It's not people laughing at him getting some random disease or like tripping and falling on his ass.
I mean, that is for some people.
It's something
but
that
it
could
is
literally
way more than
save
that.
lives. When he spent the entire
case.
pandemic denying the severity of the disease. If Trump's COVID becomes serious and he shows some of the physical toll it takes on many people, it may alarm some of his followers, compelling them to wear masks more often.
I don't think that's true.
Reuters interviewed a few Trump supporters, some of whom expressed a new perspective.
Did they?
One supporter said, "It was shocking to see he has it, wakes you up a bit.
Oh, really?
Anyone can get it, even the president."
That's
she also said she thought more people should wear masks. It's a very anecdotal case, and it's too early to tell how Trump's illness will change public opinion. But if it can convince even a few supporters to wear masks, it could potentially literally save exponential numbers of lives. Also, Why would we
Lennon?
pray
Who
for the
doesn't?
speedy recovery of a president who spends every day in office making life horrible for the most vulnerable people? If he does have a speedy recovery, do you think he'll have a Scrooge moment where he rushes outside and gives Bob Cratchit health care?
No.
Or do you think
He'll say it's
use
not a
it
big deal.
as evidence that corona is actually no big deal, and those 200,000 people who died from it were just not strong enough, like him? Now, we wrote that.
I mean, as leftists, the shit Trump says about like troops, you can like joke about and be like, oh wow, based. But really where that comes from is not like obviously not any critique of the military. It's literally Trump just like thinking that people who have experienced misfortune deserve it and not having any capacity to feel empathy for other people. And so of course he's going to think the same thing about COVID victims.
That a day ago.
Hey, Proletariat.
And then later today, Trump used his hospital trip where he was rushed by helicopter, pumped full of experimental drugs.
Well, Trump
loaded up
draft
and put on
dodged because he
oxygen
didn't want to go
as
to war.
evidence that COVID is no big deal. He recently tweeted, "Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life." In fact, he said it out loud.
Don't let it
Oh,
dominate
Pearl, thank you for the thank you for the 5 free subs.
All right, Mr. President, I will be sure to tell the immigrants
Happy
being held
days going
captive in
well.
ICE concentration camps on Trump's orders that they shouldn't be afraid of COVID, the thing spreading through the camps like wildfire, killing them. And I'll tell the over 200,000 dead ordinary American citizens that they should have done what President Trump did, getting helicoptered into Walter Reed to stay at a luxury hospital suite while getting a cocktail of all the
Also,
top-of-the-line medications
he's still not
that most people
necessarily
either
fine.
don't have access to, can barely afford, or are told to wait to come to the hospital until their symptoms are severe due to lack of adequate nationwide medical care and supplies, which sometimes leaves patients to die. And dictating to doctors to let him go home early, getting pumped full of powerful steroids so he doesn't have to appear weak. Great.
I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump dies, we probably won't hear about it for like a couple days afterwards.
Those prayers
We'll just see pre-recorded videos and not see like
and thoughts Rachel Maddow sent must
that
have
is my prediction. You can clip it.
worked. We did it. We prayed him. Also, the dexamethasone steroids probably helped too. But no, we prayed him. We prayed him to victory. Great. Now he can use his newfound health to tell everyone not to worry about a deadly disease that he is actively spreading.
This will become way more
Awesome.
expensive than pounds. I figured now is the
For
time.
this to be truly karmic retribution,
Oh, is
Trump
it?
should have
Oh,
to
well,
use
thank
the
you for the
crappy
gift subs.
healthcare system the rest of people get. Or whatever his $750 in taxes he paid would get him.
Are you starting school
Instead,
again, Pearl?
he gets the comfortable socialized medicine that we pay for at Walter Reed Hospital. So, is it bad to hope he gets even a little taste of the suffering he has caused so many people? This isn't even really karmic retribution, which is a religious idea tied to things like past lives. This is just scientifically predictable cause and
Revolutionaries
effect.
have had
Trump isn't
ideals.
meeting a
Lenin has had
poetically
none.
ironic
He is a
fate. He's
madman,
meeting a
an
completely
immolator,
predictable one
wishful
that
of
multiple
burning and
experts
slaughter and
tried to warn him of
sacrificing.
repeatedly. Like they literally warned his family
Who
at
is
the
that
debate.
from?
Like they literally warned
What's quote?
everyone all the time. Although there is definitely irony in the leader of the
Is that
"don't
Kropotkin?
listen to the snooty experts" party.
That's
You know, having this.
Oh,
happen
good luck,
to him
Proletariat.
for not doing that. But honestly, it's not just about him ignoring warnings. I don't think it's satisfying when regular people get COVID after being irresponsible and not wearing masks. I think it's tragic. When I
Yeah.
see Facebook posts of Trump supporters who didn't believe in COVID getting it and even dying, I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Yes, it's maddening that they ignore scientists, and I'm still angry at them for doing so, and for the people they've probably exposed to COVID as well. But they're also victims of misinformation, of a cult that lied to them about a deadly disease. Certainly, they bear responsibility for their careless actions, but it's not funny. It's sad.
Yeah, sure.
Meanwhile, Trump is the source of the misinformation.
Also, Trump
the
getting
one-
it has such a like It's a different scale of like world historical significance.
Goading his followers into crowding into packed churches and fundraisers and packed campaign events, which he showed up to, having known that he was exposed to the virus by Hope Hicks, and he also plans to get back on the campaign trail soon. Good luck, bud.
Which there's literally
there
no
are
way.
arguments
There's literally
that
no
Trump
way.
being sick would be a bad thing for the rest of us. Like, if he uses it to prove COVID is no big deal, something he's already trying to do while his body is still
Also,
a water balloon.
to a certain extent, the discussion of like, is it good for everyone else that he got it, sort of doesn't matter, because it's like it wasn't up to us. He just got it because he's incompetent. We're all watching. We're all spectators. You know, so just watch it. Keep watching.
Of experimental medications,
I guess. What else is there to do?
steroids, and viral ooze. And the idea of a Pence presidency is
Good night,
chilling.
proletariat.
As is the
Love you
idea
too.
that if he dies
Have a nice
before the
sleep.
election, we may be denied the beautiful satisfaction of voting him out.
Who
But the
cares?
key to these concerns is that they recognize how all of the president's potential victims, which includes every living thing on earth, are more important than comfort or lack of comfort or life or death of a very shitty wannabe tyrant. When people scold you for feeling a sense of relief or schadenfreude, they often try to remind you that Trump's a human, you know, he's just like you.
He's not just like you.
But he's not. He's the most powerful person on the planet. He's a cruel authoritarian.
The people in this fucking sphere of like political power are so fucking different than you. They don't.
His power.
They operate. They interact with humans in a different way than you do. They literally, like, there was a study that just like essentially the thesis of it was that it's harder for rich people to read the facial expressions of other people because you don't depend on them. Like, it's you're less of a social being.
Consolidate power, and is even trying to strip
Someone
away
like
our
Trump
rights
is so,
to vote.
you know.
When leaders try to take away some of the only codified power we have, and repeatedly fail to
Yeah,
protect
Trump wouldn't
us,
piss on you.
willingly
Gunfire. Yeah, that's a
sacrifice
great
our
point.
health and safety to give old Dow Jones a boner or whatever, and never seem to be touched by any of the mass suffering he causes, of course we're going to feel relief, even a little joy, when he actually faces some consequences. Consequences of his actions.
Yeah.
Presidents rarely face any consequences
So
for
like
their
the
crimes
study,
against
I
humanity.
can't remember.
And other than voting him out, which
I saw this a while ago.
please just do that, please. We all know this may be the only time Trump actually ever faces any kind of real, tangible consequence for his crimes against humanity
knows?
in his entire
I
life,
guess.
before, during, and post
I guess,
presidency.
yeah, sure.
And that feels kind of good. Because
It's
for a
this
moment,
very sort of
the universe
cosmic-
doesn't feel so random and lawless. Trump is no longer
Yeah,
a
that's a good
wicked
point.
god or horrifying demon or pile of super intelligent shape-shifting alien worms. He's some dude who got his dick caught in a toaster after screaming about how safe and good it is to f toasters, and is so pumped full of drugs and hubris, he's dangling the toaster from his weenus, bragging about it as we speak.
This is so. This is a good video.
And folks, it's a little funny.
I mean, it's yeah. Just, you know. And that's a good. I'll link it. You follow Cody, his YouTube channel. This is hilarious. Joe Biden is basically like, Joe Biden has cop DNA. He was assigned cop at birth. He's an Irish guy who is like
football player.
Like an Italian guy.
And I couldn't understand.
It's the
until
perfect
last time why I
crossover.
did so well as a flanker back and a halfback. Yeah, well, Jake Minutello, Frank Deldio, Cliff Angelotti, Jimmy DeSabatino, Lenny Sanavesi, Joe Davalos, Mike D'Onofrio,
Hey!
Mike Tosi. And that was just the offense. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding.
You fucking Italian American excellence. Joe Biden has the Frito word pass.
A pretty damn good football player.
I mean, it's very funny. Spiritually Italian, ethnically Irish. He is a police officer's police officer. Yeah, okay, anyways. Let's do debate stuff. It's happening soon.
Debate with extra pandemic precautions.
Oh yeah,
Plexiglass.
So, I mean, this is a fucking joke. You go to Subway and there is more protection for the person who is making your sandwich than this debate.
Barriers will separate Vice President.
So at the last minute, Pence basically said, like, we don't agree to protection.
Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris when they face off tonight in Salt Lake City. The candidates will also be seated at least 12 feet apart, rather than the originally planned 7 feet of separation. Despite the increasing number of positive cases among White House and Trump campaign officials, including the president and first lady, the administration says Pence has continued to test negative.
When the president told me he was headed back to the White House, he told me to head to Utah. And we're looking very much forward to the vice presidential debate.
The move to add plexiglass, which was requested by the Harris camp, was mocked by the vice president's office. Pence spokeswoman Katie Miller telling NBC News, if Senator Harris wants to use a fortress around herself, have at it. In the lead up to tonight's debate, Pence has held multiple prep sessions, some of them stretching for hours. Harris doing the same, holding.
So Chris Christie basically got coronavirus as a result of being a part of Trump's debate prep?
No public events this week.
What did they prep him for? Trump looked like he just kind of fucking winged
allies playing Pence in mock sessions, including former Mayor Pete Buttigieg,
Oh,
according to a person
excellent
familiar.
stand-in.
Former Vice President Joe Biden says he and President Trump shouldn't have another debate as long as the president remains
Spokeswoman, they
positive for
quoted is Stephen
coronavirus.
Miller's wife.
I
Amazing.
think if he still has COVID,
Amazing.
we shouldn't have a debate.
Biden in battle.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense for Biden. Because now it looks like a thing of Biden just being safe. It doesn't, because obviously Biden does not want any more debates. Obviously not.
Brown, Pennsylvania Tuesday, offering this vow.
I'll be a president who appeals to the best in us, not the worst.
Biden getting backup from Michelle Obama, the former First Lady urging Americans to vote and delivering her closing argument in a new videotaped message.
We can no longer pretend that we don't know exactly who and what this president stands for. Search your hearts and your conscience, and then vote for Joe Biden like your lives depend on it.
And less than 30 days before Election Day, we're getting snapshot of the race.
Is anyone convinced by that? I mean, like people who aren't already convinced.
Let's start with Florida. A new Suffolk University USA Today poll shows the candidates tied with 45% apiece. Keep in mind that President Trump won Florida in 2016 by just 1.2 percentage points. And let's go now to North Carolina, because a Reuters Ipsos poll shows the candidates there tied again with 47.
That seems like the ones I see here. Northern Florida has Biden +6. This is the Suffolk one here, which had them even. But Siena College, which is better, has a +5. Quinnipiac B+, plus Biden +11. So that seems like it's a little cherry picked.
7 points apiece. And what's interesting in Florida is that the polls show a number of undecided voters there, Craig. So a key pickup opportunity for both campaigns potentially.
Yeah, besides those two tight polls, Jeff, all of this coming as Joe Biden getting a high-profile endorsement from a seasoned intelligence community chief, General Michael Hayden. What more can you tell us about that?
Bingo time.
That's right. And it's important for people to know that General Hayden served as the head of the CIA under former President George W. Bush. But last night, Hayden put out an ad in support
deep state
of Joe
endorsement.
Biden. And when you see this, keep in mind that Hayden suffered a stroke in 2018 and suffers from aphasia. Take a look.
If there's another term for President Trump, I don't know what happens to America. I absolutely disagree with some of Biden's policies. But that's not important. What's important is
that
the
is
United
interesting.
States.
This is like a conservative deep state, whatever you want to fucking basically being like, yeah, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. He's fucking up coronavirus.
Joe Biden. Biden is a good man. Donald Trump is not.
Like a neoconservative who's like, Biden is too left wing.
General Hayden served in the military for some 40-plus years
All
and
right.
says that Donald Trump threatens to undo all of the alliances that the U.S. enjoys. Craig, no word back yet from the Trump campaign.
All right. Jeff Bennett for us there in Salt Lake City. Jeff, thank you. And a reminder, you can watch tonight's vice presidential debate with Savannah and Lester.
There's a C-SPAN stream for this, isn't there? All right. Here's we got the bingo. We got it ready. Please suggest some bingo stuff. Let me do this actually. Copy, paste. Right there. Here it is. There we go. We love to see it, folks. Free is gonna be a yes queen Mamala moment. Mamala? What is it? Oh yeah. That's the free spot. That's obviously gonna happen. Fuck, here we go. Oh yeah, I'll put someone coughs as one of them. I will also say for you guys, yeah, Kamala says mods. This is gonna be way less entertaining than the other one. This one's gonna be boring, I think. That's my prediction. Mike Pence and oh yeah, Mike Pence mentioned. Yes, that's good. Pence praises Kamala for putting trans people in the wrong jail. Yeah. Pence is gonna make something about religious liberty. Let's have you no decency, sir moments. They're gonna try to like do what happened to McCarthy, basically. Law and Order. They both endorse Law and Order. That's a classic. What else? Let's put some audio on. Let's bring back the KK sliders stuff, because that's cute. And it's also not TOS or whatever. No DMCAs. Mention of abortion. Oh yeah, like fourth term abortion, fourth trimester abortion. Dems doing. They're doing abortions after the birth. What else? Oh, suburbs, yeah. Prince called his wife mother. That would be good. There were only I know there were only 3 trimesters. The joke is that it's after they were born, because that's the thing that Trump people say. You got the joke. Alert, Anvilize has gotten the joke. Pence slams the gay marriage ruling. Yeah, Pence says the gays. That would be funny. Or Pence mentions the gays. How about that? Kamala says her pronouns. Which won't happen, but it would be funny if it did, right? What else? Democrat-run cities. Kamala is a communist. run cities. I mean, these are like obvious ones, I guess. We'll sprinkle in a couple easy ones. If it would be so funny if Pence called queer people alphabet people, like a 12-year-old homophobe on TikTok. Pence has been browsing too much TikTok. Oh yeah, Kamala called Biden racist. You called Biden racist. They flirt. I think that's you that wants that. I think you gotta do your own little what's it called? Fan fiction? Oh yeah, Kamala laughs at her own joke. Absolutely. What I want to see happen is like Pence get visibly turned on from a woman yelling at him, because he seems like a type of guy that would do that. Pence says the 14 words. Okay, yeah. That's, yeah. Kamala calls Pence racist. Oh yeah, that'll probably happen. Indiana AIDS crisis stuff. Pence ruins Indiana, I guess. It's Indiana, right? Pence shows emotion. That's a risky one. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Kamala comes out wearing Yeezys, yeah. That little girl's me. Yeah. I mean, it's probably more like Pence would quote Kamala saying that. Pence refers to it as the Kamala administration. Or Pence says Kamala's gonna run stuff. The Harris Biden, that's slash, this is basically that. If he says Harris Biden, what happens? Oh. Ortega? I haven't really read him. Oh yeah, Kamala disavows socialism. And Bernie. The suburbs. Do I already have that? I don't think so. Make America Great Again Again. Yeah, that's a classic Pence thing. Oh yeah, school choice. I'll just put, yeah, Meg, Kamala wears a mask. Yes. Here's a C-SPAN stream, thank you. Kamala says inshallah, that would be cool. Russia stuff, yeah, that's probably gonna happen. Bounties on soldiers. Kamala accuses I guess I wonder. Well, shouts out RBG. Oh yeah, absolutely. RBG minus 750. That's a good one. What else? What else? I want something specific and funny that might be potentially difficult. Anti-Catholic bigotry. Kamal calls Pence homophobic. Yeah, that's good. Because that's probably gonna happen. If Pence calls, I don't think that's gonna happen, but it would be so funny if Pence did the like, I just think that the K-Hive is toxic. Let's do this. Cancel culture is good. What else? His love for horses. If WAP is mentioned, fuck. Pence talks about milk? Is that related to like red meat stuff? Oh, the plexiglass is mentioned. How about that? Is that how you spell it? I think that's good. Does anyone have any complaints about the bingo sheet? It would be funny if she literally did the woman as president thing. Like, literally the SNL bit. And it'll rearrange it when I generate. So, you have complaints? Well, let me know. Don't just tell me. Don't just tell me you have them. The specific arrangement of all these will change after I generate it, I think. Alright. I mean, we still have 30 minutes. Let me look at the C-SPAN one. Proud Boys are outside the debate. I wonder what they're doing. Okay. Oh, the music, I'll link it. It's KK Slider covers. So I can play music without it being DMCA. Alright, I think this is good. We can generate this. I'll just... Hold on. Okay, generate. Generate card. Alright, there we go. Beautiful. This is the final layout. We love to see it, folks. Okay, that looks good. I think we got a solid chance of doing this. You have a question? What's up, Anna? What time is the debate? Debate is in 30 minutes. Fun. Thank you for 169 bits. You trying to call Rob Rousseau Rob the Blob? Why is that? Okay, debate in 30 minutes. You want to talk about the naked celebrity thing? I don't know if I can even show it. I don't understand the point. So the bit, they're all getting naked and telling you to vote. My mutuals with Hassan? Yes. Why? On Twitter, yes. Yeah. What link is every other streamer using? I never know how to do this. Viv and Hassan kiss on the regular? That's not true. That is wrong. Hassan is not a woman. as far as I've known, as far as I can tell. Wait, what did you say? Okay. What stream is fucking MSNBC is fine. Okay. I think it's just CNN will fuck you. CNN will fuck you if you, what's it called? If you watch their live stuff. Is Biden? Yeah, that's what they should do. They did a mistake where they got celebrities to get naked to tell people to vote. They should have just got like the president and the Democrat nominee. That was a big mistake on their part. Okay. Let's see this. Wait, let me see. Hold on. Okay. What should we watch? Before we do this, hold on. Let me set this up. Just taking a second. Okay. Video of the Kush vlog. Oh yeah, you're right. That's a good idea. Here's the Kush vlog. 7 hours ago.
Hey.
Watch a bit of this. I'll link it, obviously.
Most trusted news stork. I'm here to be a stork, delivering news, dropping it swaddled in baby blankets through your chimney, which you will now
till the
absorb.
Thing starts.
I feel great. I don't know about you guys. I'm
Hey, Chelsea,
definitely
how's
not
it going?
drowning in my own mucus, unlike some people I know.
That's right.
Man, it's funny how things get interesting very quickly, isn't it? Obviously, the big news that just happened is that Trump went on Twitter and said, yeah, no checks before the election. If you vote for me, maybe you'll get one.
Which is a genius election
is
strategy.
The perfect type of dumbass
genius
politicking that a moron like Trump would
That'll
do,
get someone to vote
smart.
for you.
Like, he thinks that that's genius. Like, oh no, people are going to want to check, and then they're going to vote for me to get one. Forgetting the fact that Biden is also saying that he would give checks.
Will Crossing, thank
ones.
you for the continuing gift sub.
And the fact that with any of Trump's promises to make things better if you vote for him, the problem always is, well, why don't you do it now? Why don't you make my life better now? You're literally waiting. You're telling me I only can get my life better at all.
It's the dumbest fucking...
Whether it's stopping the rioting or getting checks to people if you vote for me. And it's not supposed to be that
better
explicit,
if it's on YouTube.
You know? That's the thing with Trump is that he takes
They're posting Minecraft. Why is yikes censored? Because I don't like when people say yikes to my takes.
Only be
it's annoying.
subliminally suggested, and he makes
it's the most annoying thing you can
explicit.
say.
And when it comes
Hope
to
you're
stuff
having a
like
good day.
race and dog whistles turning into shouts, people freak out
I'm a
about
tyrant,
it.
that's why.
But the fact is that in general, it's a little heavy-handed, and I don't know if it always has the effect he wants it to have. And I think in this case, it's a disastrously terrible idea. The fact that they're letting him do this, honestly, tells me that the Republicans have written him off. They have made the smart choice to say he is a polarizing figure. His value is no longer extant. We've
you guys did it. You said yikes, but you didn't say it. Congratulations.
And now
you got my ass.
Especially since we've secured the courts forever.
When does this start?
The entire federal apparatus.
Oh, it just starts at 6. Okay.
Up to the Supreme Court.
I'll be right back. Actually,
we can just sit back.
I'm gonna get
let the Democrats
to drink.
flail around for 4 years.
This is the link
to deal with
for
any
what
of the
we're
problems that we've
Matt
created,
etc. Be right back. 1 sec.
Do our best to obstruct any attempt at fixing them, which of course will be minimal because the Democrats don't have any more interest in fixing anything than we do, and then come sweeping back in 2024 and take the presidency, which of course is always what people who are terrified of, what comes after Trump. I don't know what that is. I've given up guessing. I will say, though, I really think this is true. Less than a month before an election, with the entire economy reeling and people facing mass eviction and huge loss in income, to not get a second round of checks out to people before the election, it just tells me that right-wing populism that people are afraid of happening, this sort of Josh Hawley, Herrenvolk democracy where we get white Medicare for all or something. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that that's going to occur. I think that the Republican Party is still well in control by capital, as is the Democratic Party, and capital has a bipartisan consensus to not get people too used to free money from the government. And as such, no one has that much leeway to really be the Huey Long-esque,
I'm sorry, I'm back.
every man a king
this is
figure.
Mr.
from
Mrs.
either
Mr.
party,
Chapo talking.
You know, and so that means that we're just going to get more culture war, I would say, on the horizon, while the material conditions just keep getting worse. And with no one doing really even suggesting anything to be done about them, and no bidding war along actual economic axis. It's going to be pure grievance.
I mean, Kamala and fucking Biden aren't going to make any actual material.
I can get it from McConnell's perspective. Like McConnell, he's going to get Amy Cohen brothers on the court.
That is Sam Hyde.
And that's all he really cares about, all he's had his eye on. And he doesn't really care who the president is, because he rightly understands that at this point it's sort of meaningless. As long as the constraints, as long as the aperture of political action stays where it is, and making sure that
talks about capital as if it has its own agency. I mean, that's sort of what is it? Anthropization. Why am I forgetting that word? Is it in a Marxist sense a good way of understanding capital? That capital sort of reasserts itself. Anthropomorphization. There we go. Thank you. That capital sort of has its own agency insofar as in the economy, all that capital does is reinforce and produce more capital. Nailed it. Thank you. The profit modem maximizes itself for its own end. It is, in a particular sense, like an end in itself. It treats itself as an end in itself and wants to purely reproduce itself. Profit mode. Did I say modem?
Possibility of Trump becoming a populist.
Yeah, it's the internet.
Kingpin.
I'm so online.
As long as that's off the table, then he doesn't really have to worry. And
is there
now
a gas leak? No, this is how I always am.
The fact that Trump allowed them to do this really does speak to the fact that he's too stupid to assert the authority that he could have, because it is amazing.
So, like, the basic Marxist lesson, like, Deleuze considers himself a Marxist, for instance. He takes away all of the dialectical materialism stuff, all of Hegel, goes like right to Spinoza, but he says that he's a Marxist for the reason that he uses the Marxist analysis of capital, which is all capital wants from you as an individual is your labor to produce capital or your capital directly. And that is all capital wishes to do.
He is a person who hypothetically could go to war with the entire political apparatus. He could go to war.
If capital could boil you down into pure capital, no sort of substance outside of accumulation of capital, it would totally do that and actively attempts to do that.
The Republican Party and the Democratic Party, and create and really create a third force.
It does
in American
do that,
politics. Yes. But it would have
to
be somebody other than him to do that. But nobody other than him could be in a position to do that. To me, that's endlessly fascinating. The only person who could have threaded the needle in 2016 was Donald Trump. But because he was Donald Trump, he does not have the interests, the political agenda or ambition or vision. Like, he's not a political person. He doesn't actually care about the structure of American politics in any way, which means that he has spent no time in the last 4 years actually doing anything to stand out from conventional Republicans when it comes to governing. It's all been at the level of rhetoric and at the level of spectacle, because it would require too much investment to try to push back against the dominant ideologies within the Republican Party, as evidenced by the fate of poor Steve Bannon, who got turfed within 6 months because there was nobody else who had his back, and it sure shit wasn't going to be Trump either. And now the upshot of that is that they're willing to sacrifice him And
well, yeah, I mean, Foucault rejects Marx's fundamental thesis on capital.
Convinced him that this was the smart thing to do, because it's like, I guess because it makes him feel
Poor
like he's
Steve
in charge.
Bannon got cucked.
To tell them, yeah, no more stimulus. You got to elect me to get more stimulus. With no understanding that this means that he is now the man who is taking responsibility for people suffering through this fucking crisis for at least months with no end in sight. Astounding.
Oh, sorry.
Amazingly.
What are people saying?
You know what? We love
What does
it,
it mean
folks,
for capital to active or passively? Well, again, to a certain extent, this is all, this is all color. This is all an analogy. Because you can't see capital. Capital isn't like a thing, I went out in the woods today unguarded and this like capital sneaked up on me and attacked me and turned me into more capital.
This is now making it look more and more like you could see a genuine landslide, which could lead to Biden winning and the Democrats taking the Senate.
There's my prediction now is a Democrat Senate, House, and presidency. And I predict that Biden does very little with it. Biden will get a majority in the Senate and the House. He will not pack the courts, and he will not end gerrymandering. Two things I will definitely say that his administration will not do.
And it will be very fascinating to watch them fail to do anything with that power on purpose.
Something does not need to physically exist.
That'll be very entertaining to watch. And I think that that's really what McConnell's bet is, and it's a good one, is that he doesn't really have anything to fear from the Democrats in power in terms of really changing the dynamics of power or influence in government, or changing popular perceptions of what government can do or the responsibility to you. So he's in the catbird seat.
Oh, damn,
I
didn't even know it was my sub-anniversary just in time for debate bingo night.
Cat
Frank
turtle
Dangwitz, thank you for the tier 2.
Actually,
Let's
just
go.
the turtle
Frank
seat.
Dangwitz, thank you for the tier 2.
No other animal, just the turtle seat.
I thank you on an amount based on your tier,
he's
by
on
the
his
way.
flat hot rock. He's sunning himself. He's in his glory. And Nancy Pelosi, of course, thinks that she's being a genius, too. It's so funny. Her attempt is very clear. Like, she doesn't have any incentive to see checks go up before Election Day either, right? She wants to see Trump have this around his neck. But there's usually you would have to worry about your opponent realizing the obviousness of that and not falling into the trap you've laid. Meanwhile, they just led Trump out to fall onto the spikes like a fucking cow, just because they told him that he'd look very strong if he did that. You look very strong, Mr. President. And yes, people are definitely going to care more about, in the last 3 weeks before the election, they're going to be much more invested in this fucking religious weirdo nobody's ever heard of than getting actual money in their bank account. You're 100% right about that, Mr. President. Someone says Amy Kevin Garnett. That's good. Amy, that's actually one of the best ones. Amy Kevin Garnett. That's not bad. So yeah, Pelosi is being gifted in her enemies, which is the greatest blessing you can have. Which of course is the blessing that Trump had when he had to run against Hillary. And I really hope that this election, this 2020 final, will really clarify retroactively that whole phenomenon and tell us that the whole Trump phenomenon really was partially, at least. I mean, obviously it has real basis. But the phenomenon of him being the president for 4 years is sort of an Indian summer situation created by the specific catastrophic insanity of having Hillary Clinton run for president.
Right. It's the only candidate that could have lost.
The only person who could have lost that election.
Yeah.
And I think that over time, I think at the time people recognized that she was the only person who could have lost that election. But then Trump's specific center of gravity, his ability to consume all light, kind of obscured that, and he became the whole world.
Right.
And I think a lot of people kind of lost that perspective and started thinking, okay, things are different now. We're in a new world. I know I felt like that sometimes. But I think now people are sort of sobering up a little bit, 200,000 dead, no coronavirus release. And Like,
and
there could have been.
people are also thinking about a future after Trump, and how all of the things that happened before Trump are still happening now. And so it really wasn't this like very specific black hole of meaning that came out of nowhere. It's just the specific causes that led to it were hard to predict beforehand. We think of this with most historical processes that are significant, actually. When in the very early stages of, let's say, industrialization, the people doing industrialization or living in those countries could not have possibly predicted the scale of social and political change that it caused. But you look back on it and it's like, well, yeah, of course. That makes perfect sense. Watch this in 2024. Is this me saying something? There's my prediction now is a Democrat Senate, House, and presidency. And I predict that Biden does very little with it. Yeah, you can
Something
that's
to
going to
Trump.
happen, absolutely. Okay, maybe we'll watch this afterwards. Rest of this, go follow Chapo or whatever.
Them for a vibrant future
etc.
as members of the global community. Students
The
are
Kush vlogs
quite
are great.
simply at the center of all we do. Let me introduce you to our student body leaders.
Here we go, baby.
Ephraim
Here we go,
Kuhn,
baby.
President, Michelle Valdez, Vice President of Student Relations, and Ayana Amici, Vice President of University Relations. These individuals exemplify inquisitive, smart, creative students who will lead us into the future. I asked Michelle one thing she wanted the world to know about the University of Utah, and she said,
I guess all of
this is a place for everyone
people
from any
hosting are going to do this.
come and accomplish extraordinary things. This is an institution for anyone, not only to learn, do research, teach, or lead, but to do all of those things in an exemplary manner. At the University of Utah, there is endless opportunity.
Oh.
And Ephraim offered a message of hope for the students who are listening tonight. If there's anything I hope for the students, young, emerging leaders watching and listening tonight, it is the hope that we will feel empowered to make our voices heard and our presence known.
Much better.
And the hope that we recognize the power and potential we have to act, to make a significant difference in our communities.
Sort of isn't, but whatever.
But it all starts with what we do today, especially as we tune in tonight. We are the future, yes, but we are also the present, and present we will be.
That's
this
deep,
election
fucking
may
dude.
be the
Jesus
first
Christ.
Involvement in the nation's political process for many students.
That's deep. I didn't fucking think about that.
How very important it is to be a part of an informed, involved citizenry.
She's popping off.
Ayana offers
She's a
this
cipher.
message from students here at the U to students listening from around the world. I want students worldwide to know that partaking in election processes is indispensable, as we are all citizens of humankind, and our chief role as such is to tailor the world to be more ethical than the one we grew up in order to avoid complicity in governmental injustice, it is our responsibility to vote for just outcomes within our own respective structures. It is our responsibility to be commonly decent. From all of us at the University of Utah, our very best wishes to Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris this evening.
Colin, thank you for the
and my
gift sub.
deepest appreciation
Shout out to Colin.
all who helped plan
Friend
and
of the stream.
prepare for tonight.
Follow them.
From our campus, the Utah Debate Commission, and the Commission on Presidential Debates. Thank you all, and again, warmest welcome to the University of Utah.
All right, time to go, baby. I got 6 minutes left. Hold on. All right. I'm loving how few masks there are. That's great. That makes me feel great. Told you so if you wouldn't watch video. I mean, what else do you gotta do, right? Is Biden here? Or did they just not have him? Where's the empty seat that's dedicated to Tupac? Did they actually do that? Or did they the Republicans get a Tupac hologram on the seat? Has anyone said that before? Is that a new one? Anyone thought of that joke? No, there isn't even an empty seat. They pussied out.
Please welcome the first print journalist to be the solo moderator of one of the general election debates, Washington Bureau Chief of USA Today, Susan Page.
Wait, I'll make this louder.
Go get him, honey.
Hopefully this doesn't fuck up again.
Hey, welcome. And congratulations, you have scored the most exclusive tickets in the United States. Hamilton has nothing on the Commission on Presidential Debates when it comes to exclusive tickets.
There's already, the debate hasn't started yet, and they've referenced
Vice
Hamilton.
Pence's family, I think is
This is great.
and to Senator Kamala Harris's family on this side, and most especially to my bosses who are seated right up there, and I'm very glad that they came and joined us. My bosses from USA Today and from Gannett.
I'm so excited.
We're glad
man.
that you're here.
I need a Hamilton-related question.
This debate is not about you, and it's not about me. It's about the millions of Americans who are going to be watching it. And that's why I'm going to ask you for your help. I'm going to ask you for your silence. I'm going to ask you during the debate not to cheer or to boo,
No cell
or to
phones.
hiss or to laugh, because that is distracting for the people we are really.
No. I want it to be like I want it to be like British Parliament.
There will be 2 times when you can applaud.
Order.
That will be when I announce the 2 candidates on the stage. They'll come on the stage simultaneously.
No, fuck it.
That'll be a time to applaud.
What are you gonna do
and then
when they
applaud
hiss?
again at
You're
the
gonna
very
kick
end
them
of the
out?
debate. But if you could keep restrain your enthusiasm between those 2 times, I'd appreciate it.
What am I drinking?
And
Diet
if you could
Coke.
send me a little good karma, that would also be appreciated, but quietly. I'm going now to sit down and get settled and turn my back to you, but not in a rude way. And I'll see you on the other side. Thanks again for being here.
Is she the debate host? Oh, she is. Oh, okay. Oh, that's awesome. That's perfect. This is such a perfect situation to set up a Yas Queen moment for Kamala. This is great. She did say no clapping and they immediately clapped. That's very funny. That's a great sign, I think. Weird Al, of course, collecting the mic stand. He's really fallen off in the last 10 years. Yeah, I will warn you guys, this is not going to be as interesting as the other one. It will be entertaining. I mean, at least, I don't know. Who knows? It's not going to be boring. I guess we got 5 minutes left. This is like when you start a fucking exam in university and they tell you all the shit. Like, they get you in the room and they tell you all the rules and it's like they won't let you start until fucking 10 minutes after. I don't know how universal that experience is, I'm realizing. There's something on the roof? Who's on the roof? I mean, I'm sure they have a guy on there who's like Secret Service or whatever. That makes sense. I guess you guys don't have tests in America, you're right. That's so funny. That's so little like protection. The tiny little plexiglass. So what? The Pence admin like reluctantly agreed to plexiglass? You're on the roof. Thank you for your service, Anna. Yeah, I guess we're really just fucking waiting. We're still. Oh, I guess she's explaining something. Yeah, Pence is a little late, and they did honor roll for COVID testing. That would rock if he was like too late for COVID testing and they did honor roll with him too. Honestly, Pence probably doesn't have COVID because he was like not around Trump in the last few days. Which is just, you know, fluke. Because all of this is fluke. There's no structure or order to the events that have unfolded in the last like 2 weeks. Yeah, it was God protected him. He converted from Catholicism to Protestantism and now he's blessed. Now he's protected. This is an hour and a half, right? The debate's not too long. All right. Is that the Constitution in the back? Yeah, this is about what the debate's gonna look like. This is what the debate's gonna look like, folks. Yeah, I'm loving the $20 office chairs. I guess I really don't know what the fuck to expect. I really don't. Those are $1,200 chairs? Oh, damn, never mind. I guess I don't fucking... Clearly, I can only tell if a chair is nice if it's a gamer chair. Those just look like shitty office chairs. I don't understand. Why don't they give the presidential debaters, I guess the vice presidential debaters, DX Racer fucking gaming chairs? You'd think that they would care about their posture or something. You know, they'd have chairs that if you pull a lever on it and it goes up like this. Actually, oh shit, Jesus. But I guess, yeah, no, I guess the university just don't give a shit. Yeah, they're giving them the $1,200 Wayfair chairs, which is the reason why the $1,200 chairs look like $30 chairs, is because they are. That's not what you're purchasing with the. Yeah, I don't know why they're not standing. That's true, cause I don't know. Is that a thing where the VP debate is like sitting? The VPs sit? That's weird. What's the point of that? All right. How long? I guess it should start literally any second. These still work, right? Yeah. These are cool. This is a good bingo thing. I can just click it. They can't stand the malarkey, right? Then why did Biden not sit? There we go.
Good evening. From the University of Utah in Salt Lake City, welcome to the first and only vice presidential debate of 2020.
Let's go,
Sponsored
dude.
by the Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm Susan Page of USA Today. It is my honor to moderate this debate, an important part of our democracy. In Kingsbury Hall tonight, we have a small and socially distant audience, and we've taken extra precautions during this pandemic. Among other things, everyone in the audience is required to wear a face mask, and the candidates will be seated 12 feet apart. The audience is enthusiastic about their candidates, but they've agreed to express that enthusiasm only twice, at the end of the debate and now, when I introduce the candidates.
They're
Please
definitely
welcome
not going to.
California Senator Kamala Harris.
Just
and
the
Vice
fact that they said
President
that.
Mike Pence.
The fact they said that is going to ensure that they're going to make noise. Pence looks like a fake guy. He looks like he's like plastic. I don't know. I can't explain that. No mask, I guess.
Thank you.
Wax statue Mike Pence. Very similar like to Zuckerberg vibe.
Senator
All right.
Harris and Vice President Pence, thank you for being here. We're meeting as President Trump and the First Lady continue to undergo treatment in Washington after testing positive for COVID-19.
Oh, that's a spicy
We send our
first
thoughts
question.
and prayers to them for their rapid and complete recovery and for
Pence
the
looks like a
recovery of
deep
everyone
fake.
afflicted
Big man,
by
thank
the
you for the 8 months.
coronavirus.
He does.
The two campaigns and the Commission on Presidential Debates have agreed to the ground rules for tonight. I'm here to enforce them on behalf of the millions of Americans who are watching. One note, no one in either campaign or at the Commission or anywhere else has been told in advance what topics I'll raise or what questions I'll
It's
ask.
funny they have to do this after
This
they
90-minute
told
debate will be
the
divided
DNC
into
told
9
Clinton
segments of about
the
10
questions.
minutes each. I'll begin a segment by posing a question to each of you, sometimes the same question, sometimes a different question on the same topic. You will then have 2 minutes to answer without interruption by me or the other candidate. Then we'll take 6 minutes or so to discuss the issue. At that point, although there will always be more to say, we'll move on to the next topic.
Kamala's got 2
We
drinks
want a debate
instead of
that
1.
is lively, but Americans also
I don't. This is
deserve
all.
a discussion that is civil. These are
That's
tumultuous
great.
times, but we can and will have a respectful exchange about the big issues facing our nation.
This just
Let's
feels
begin with the
uncomfortable.
ongoing pandemic
I feel
that has cost
uncomfortable
our
watching
country
this.
so much. Senator Harris, the coronavirus is not under control. Over the past week, Johns Hopkins reports
Bias
that
moderators,
39 states have
mods,
had more COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9
left-wing
states have
Democrat
set new
moderators.
records. Even if a vaccine is released soon, the next administration will face hard choices. What would a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you impose new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots? A federal mandate to wear masks? You have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Thank you, Susan. Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country.
There you go, Queen.
And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country in just the last several months.
I wonder
Over
if more
7
people are going to
million
watch
people who have
this.
contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers. We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing. On January 28th, the vice president and the president
Why do you
were
do 4
informed
19 or 420 every day?
about the nature of this
I don't know, why
pandemic.
not?
They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will
She
affect
almost
young
left.
people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne. And they knew what was happening, and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine
This is
if
smart.
you knew on January 28th,
This
as
is
opposed
smart.
to March 13th, what they knew, what you might have done to prepare? They knew and they covered it up. The president said it was a hoax. They minimized the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't.
Vertigo Sound, thank you for 6
And
months.
in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a
you sorta
national
don't.
strategy
But
for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all. That is the plan that Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have to get a hold of what has been going on.
it's weird to
and we need
see like
save
Kamala
our
talk
country.
because she
And
like
Joe Biden is
she
the
acts
best leader
like
to do that, and frankly, this administration
politician.
has forfeited
Thank you,
their right to re-election based on this.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, more than
Which is funny.
210,000 Americans have
That
died
is sort of a
COVID-19
dodge question,
since
but I mean,
February. The U.S. death toll as a
Let's
percentage
see
of
how
our
the Pence.
population
I'm sure
is
they
higher
fucking.
than that of almost every other
They
wealthy
totally.
nation
Kamala
on
totally
Earth.
fucking prepared the shit
For
out of
instance,
this.
our death rate is 2.5 times that of Canada.
Let's
next
see if
door.
Pence does it.
You head the
You can't prepare
administration's
with Biden because
coronavirus
it's just,
task
you know, in
force.
one ear out the other.
Why is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher
I'm curious,
than
and- or
that of
nor
almost
can you
every
compare with
other
Trump,
wealthy
but-
country? And you have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Susan, thank you. And I want to thank the Commission and the University of Utah for hosting this event. And Senator Harris, it's a privilege to be on the stage with you.
They're doing civility
Our
shit.
nation's gone through a very challenging time this year.
He is absolutely stalling. This is
But I
so
want the
weird.
American people to know that from the very first day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. Before there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had
Normalcy,
returned from
baby.
China, President Donald Trump did what no other American president had
We need
ever
the
done.
Kamala Pence unity
And that was he
ticket.
suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world. Now,
I'm not
Senator
into it. It's
Joe
not entertaining.
Biden opposed that decision. He said it was xenophobic and hysterical. But I can tell you, having led the White House coronavirus task force, that that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time
I mean,
to stand
neither
up
of
to
them
the
fucking
greatest
have
national
charisma.
mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done to date. We were able to see to the delivery
It was
of
cute that he
billions
smuggled
of
in America
supplies so our
first there at
doctors and
the
nurses
end.
had the resources support they needed. And we began really before
Yeah, that was
the month
smart,
of February
saying he was
to
at the
develop a
task force
vaccine
lead.
and to develop medicines and therapeutics
great
and
idea.
saving lives all along the way. And under President Trump's leadership, Operation Warp Speed, we believe we'll have literally tens of millions of doses of a vaccine before the end of this year. The reality is, when you
That's
look at the Biden
no
plan,
fucking
it reads an
possible
awful
way.
lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way. I mean, quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks
This
about
feels like a
advancing
real
testing,
presidential
creating
debate.
new PPE, developing a vaccine,
I can't conceptualize why
looks
that
a little
happened.
bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden
That's
knows
so
a little bit
awesome.
about. And I think the
They're-
American people know that this is a president who has put the
Thank you,
health
Vice
of America first, and the American people, I believe with my heart, can be
Thank you,
proud
Vice
of the
President.
sacrifices
They're
they
stealing
have
our
made.
bits.
It saved
Thank you,
countless
Vice President
American
Pence.
lives.
Senator Harris, would you like to respond?
Absolutely. Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country, American lives that have been lost.
This is like
families
some
that are
West Wing
grieving
shit.
That loss. And you know, the vice president is the head of the task force.
Yeah, I don't know why he said
And
that.
knew
I
on
don't know why he
January
mentioned that.
28th how serious this was. And then thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it. And then when that was exposed, the vice president said, when asked, well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get
but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to
have
add,
to
but
weigh in here.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh in.
speaking.
Oh,
You
yes,
have 10 more
Queen.
seconds, and then we'll give the Vice President
Yes,
a chance.
Queen.
So I want to ask the American people, how calm were you when you were panicked about where you're going to get your next roll of toilet paper? How calm were you when your kids were sent home from school and you didn't know when they could go back?
off,
How
Queen.
calm were you
Thank
when
you,
your
Senator
children
Harris.
couldn't see your parents because you were afraid they could kill them?
Let's give Vice President Pence a chance to respond. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute to
You
respond.
know, there's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of every American family that's lost a loved one.
She already did it. That's
And I want all
you
of
don't
you to
know
know
how to
that you'll always
feel
be
about
in our
other
hearts.
people, Pence.
And in our prayers. But when you say what the American people have done over these last
Why
8
does he-
months hasn't worked,
Did he burst?
that's a great disservice.
Why is his
The
eye red?
sacrifices the American people have made.
I'm
The
referring
Look at that.
reality, if I may finish, Senator, the reality
Oh,
is
yeah,
Dr.
she-
Fauci said everything that he told the president in the Oval Office, the
Look at
president
that
told
eye.
the American people. Now, President Trump, I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the
Look at
American
that
people, and
eye.
He always spoke with confidence that we'd get through this
He's got
together.
Biden eye.
But when you say it hasn't worked, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts came to us in the second week of March, they said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million Americans. And that's the reality.
Thank you.
They also
Thank you,
said
Vice
to us, if
President
we
Pence.
did everything right, Susan, we could still lose more than 200,000 Americans.
Vice President
Now, one
Pence.
life lost is too
Thank you.
many, Susan. But the American people, I believe, deserve credit
What
for
is-
the sacrifices
it's
that
red.
they have made, putting the health of their family and their neighbors first, our doctors, our nurses, our first
Thank you, Vice
responders.
President Pence.
And I'm going to
Stalin
speak up
quote?
on behalf of
Did
what
you-
the American people have done.
Vice President
did
Pence, you were in the front row in a Rose Garden event 11 days ago at what seems to have been a super spreader event for senior administration and congressional officials.
That's
no
right.
social distancing, few masks, and now a cluster of coronavirus cases among those who were there. How can you expect Americans to follow the administration's safety guidelines to protect themselves from COVID when you at the White House have not been doing so?
Well, the American people have demonstrated over the last 8 months that when given the facts, they're willing to put the health of their families and their neighbors and people they don't even know first. And President Trump and I have great confidence.
I mean, yeah,
in
he
the
doesn't have a good
American people
answer.
and their
obviously.
ability to take that information.
Yes,
and
moderator
put it into
queen.
practice. In the height of the epidemic, when we were losing a heartbreaking number of 2,500 Americans a day, we surged resources
Debate
to
audio
New
up?
Jersey
Sure.
and New York and New Orleans and Detroit. We told the
Is
American
that good?
people
Is
what
everyone
needed
fine
to be
with that?
done, and the American people made the sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work
Early
of the
symptom
President
of
the United
COVID,
States
baby.
goes on. A vacancy on the Supreme Court of the United States has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy Coney
Yes,
Barrett.
thank you. Thank you, Vice
But
President
at
Pence.
that, if I may say, that Rose Garden event, there's been a great deal of speculation about it. My wife Karen and I were there and honored to be there.
That's amazing.
Many of the people who were at that event, Susan, actually were
he's
tested
like
for
his
coronavirus.
eyes red.
And it was an outdoor event, which
And
all of our scientists
bursting a
regularly
blood
and
vessel in
routinely
your
advise.
eye is a symptom
The
of
difference
coronavirus.
here is President Trump and I trust the American people to make choices in the best interest of their
Amazing.
health. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris consistently talk about mandates, and not just mandates with the coronavirus, but a government takeover of health care,
Thank you. Thank
the
you, Vice
Green New
President
Deal, all government
New Deal,
control.
baby.
We're about freedom and respecting the freedom of the American people.
Let's talk about respecting the American people. You respect the American people when you tell them the
Where is
truth.
it? Where is
You
it?
respect the American
This
people
is
when you have
literally
the
a Sorkin
courage
fucking
to be a
script.
leader speaking of those things that you may not want people to hear,
Where's
but they
Green New
need to
Deal?
hear so they can protect themselves. But this administration stood on information that if you had as a parent, if you had as a worker, knowing you didn't have enough money saved up,
Did I
now
not
you're
have one?
standing in a
Oh.
food line
Not on there.
because of the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling to speak the truth to the American people. So let's talk about caring about the American people. The American people have had to sacrifice far too much because of the incompetence of this administration. It is
Damn.
asking
Get
too
them
much
a-
of the
get
people.
their ass.
talk
No,
about
Vice
It is
President
asking
Pence.
too much of the people. That they would not be equipped with the information they need to help themselves to protect
Susan,
their
the
parents
President-
and
No,
their
I'm
children.
sorry. Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, I'm sorry.
It's
I
fine,
meant
I'm
to say-
Kamala.
No, you're Senator Harris to me.
Yes.
For life to get back to normal.
Where
Dr.
is
Anthony
it?
Fauci and
Kamala
other
laughs at
experts
her own
say
joke.
That most of the people who can be vaccinated need to be vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine if it was released now. If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
That's
Vice President Pence,
actually
there
a
have been a
very
lot of
weird
repercussions
position.
from this pandemic. In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has
That
underscored
is,
the importance
I mean, that's like
of the
that's
job
a good
that
summary
you
of
hold
Democrat
and that you are
skepticism.
seeking. That's our second topic tonight. It's the role of the vice president.
It's doing.
One of you will make history on January 20th. You
doing
will be the
anti-vax,
vice
but
president
locally.
to the oldest president the United States has ever had. Donald Trump will be 74 years old on inauguration
Yeah, that's not a
day.
good answer.
Joe Biden will be 78 years old. That already has raised
I mean, yeah, she
concerns
should have
among
said if
some
only.
voters,
Yes.
concerns that have been sharpened by
Yeah,
President
they're gonna
Trump's
take that shit out of
hospitalization
context
in
or
recent
something.
days. Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without interruption.
Well, Susan, thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on to the issue of...
Well, thank you, but I would like to go back because the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical
He is
trials,
bombing.
and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So
we're the moderators.
The fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives.
This is why I said you shouldn't have said that.
We will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year. And it will have the capacity to save countless American lives.
Yeah. She shouldn't have said I'm not going to take it if Trump's
of confidence in a vaccine is just it's just unacceptable.
That was a smart.
And let me also say, the reality is when you talk about failure in this administration,
his eye is fucking bleeding,
we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic. It was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States.
Cops are bad cops.
Thankfully, it ended up
Thank you for
being as
the 8
lethal
months
as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted
H1N1,
swine
baby.
flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu.
What did Kamala have to do with that?
If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus, in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives.
And
his own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year...
Which eye? His left eye. When he turns to look to the right, you can see it, right?
Everything possible wrong. And we learned from that. They left the strategic national stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow pond.
They're just fucking...
How long is from it? And I
how
think
long
the
is he
American
been
people,
for?
I'll say again, can be proud
Vice President Pence, I'm sorry,
of what we have done. And Senator, please stop undermining confidence in a vaccine.
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked Vice President Pence.
And she's just going to respond.
Have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with Vice President Biden about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue
If she
of
doesn't just respond to that
disability?
question
And
and
if
ignore
not,
this, she's
And
cocked.
if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
If she doesn't
so
just
let me
respond.
Tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call.
No. You can't.
Asking me to serve with him on this ticket was probably one of the most memorable days of my life. I thought about my mother, who came to the United States at the age of 19, gave birth to me at the age of 25 at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California. And the thought that I'd be sitting here right now, I know would make her proud. And she must be looking down on this. Joe and I were raised in a very similar way. We were raised with values that are about hard work, about the value
Why
and
would
the
she
dignity of
move
public
on
service,
from...
and about the importance of fighting
If anything,
for the
that
dignity
made
of all
fucking
people.
him look
and
better.
I think Joe asked me to serve with him because, I have a career that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San Francisco.
No, she's
where I
fucking
created models of innovation for law enforcement in terms of reform of the criminal justice system. I was elected.
That was a very quick
the
switch,
first,
I think.
Woman of color and black woman to be elected Attorney General of the state of California,
she's
where
throwing.
I ran
She
the
had it
second
there.
largest Department of Justice in the United States, second only to the United States Department of Justice. And
Top
there I
cop,
took
baby.
on everything from transnational criminal organizations
She's a top
to the
cop.
big banks that were taking
I should have put
advantage
that.
of homeowners.
I didn't realize
to
she would brag
for-profit
about that.
colleges that were taking advantage of veterans.
I understand that a
And then, of course, now I
vaccine can
serve
be
in the United
harmful.
States Senate
From a
as only the
rhetorical
second black woman
perspective,
ever elected
it is
to the
bad to
United
say
States Senate. I serve
that
on
you
the
wouldn't
Senate
take a vaccine,
Intelligence
though.
Committee, where I've been in regular
Absolutely.
receipt of classified information about threats to our nation and hotspots around the world. I've traveled the world. I've met with our soldiers in war zones.
She took on trans
and I think
people.
Joe has asked me to serve with
and
him
made sure that
because he knows that we share.
Their
We share a
birth
purpose,
sex
which is
marker
about
was
lifting
the
up the
prison
American
that they were
people.
sent to.
And after the 4 years that we have seen of Donald Trump unifying our country
What was the
around
question?
our common values and principles.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Neither President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released a sort of detailed health information that had become the modern norm until the 2016 election. And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers, or refuse to answer basic questions about his health. And my question to each of you in turn is this information voters deserve to know? Vice President Pence, would you like to go first?
Well, Susan, thank you. And let me say, on behalf of the President and the First Lady, how moved we've all been by the outpouring of prayers and concern for the President. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus.
Yeah, their prep is...
But the care the President received at Walter Reed Hospital, the White House doctors, was exceptional. And the transparency that they practiced all along the way will continue. The American people have a right to know about the health and well-being of their president, and will continue to do that. But I'm just extremely grateful and was more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions of genuine concern. And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination.
Thank you.
I love civility, baby.
I never expected to be on this stage 4 years
yes,
ago. So
Mike Pence.
But
Mike Pence, first woman of color nominated.
Why
before
would
the
they
American
answer
people
the
in the
damn
midst of this
questions?
challenging
Pirate
year.
Fin, thank you so
And
much.
the stakes have never been higher, but I think the choice has never been
This
clearer.
is how we defeat
Senator Harris
racism.
a chance to respond to the same question I asked,
This
which
is
is,
how
do
we defeat
voters have a
racism.
right to know more detailed health information about presidential candidates
King
and
of
especially
civility.
about presidents, especially when they're facing some kind of challenge?
Absolutely, and that's why Joe Biden has been so incredibly transparent, and certainly by contrast, the president has not, both in terms of health records, but also
Is
let's
that a
look at
rhetorical?
taxes.
I'm speaking as trending.
We
of course
now
it
know,
fucking
because
is.
of great investigative
$750
journalism, that
Papela.
Donald Trump paid $750 in taxes. When I first heard about it, I literally said, "You mean $750,000?" And it was like, no, $750. We now know Donald Trump owes
Papela.
and is in debt for $400 million. And just
He's a
so
fake
everyone is
billionaire.
clear, when we
He's
say
bad
in
at
debt,
being-
it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief,
Oh, that's a
owes
smart
money
rhetorical.
to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the President's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people, of you, or self-interest? So,
Folks,
Susan, I'm
we
glad you asked
need
about
more honest capitalists
because it has to be
at the
across
head
the
of
board.
the
Joe
state
has
pyramid.
been incredibly transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest, he is forthright. But Donald Trump, on the other hand,
old
has
honest
been
Joe.
about covering up everything.
Thank you, Senator Harris. I want to give you a chance to respond, Vice President.
This
Well,
is,
look, I
people
respect
don't
the
give a
fact that,
fuck about
Joe
it.
Biden spent
about the
47 years
750
in
shit.
public life. I respect your public service as well.
He's trying to out civility
The
her.
American people have a president.
I don't.
who's
Is that a good
businessman.
idea?
It's a job
That's
creator
so weird.
who's paid tens of millions of dollars
Actually,
in taxes.
he's a great
Payroll
billionaire.
taxes, property taxes. He's
Very
created tens
efficient.
of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president
I think one of the reasons why
stacks of financial disclosures the American
I think
people can review. Just
one of the
as
reasons
law
why I liked
allows.
the other
But
debate
the
in terms of
distinction
how
here
entertaining it
that,
is.
that Joe Biden, 47 years
Is
in
that it-
public service, compared to
you get
President
to,
Donald
like-
Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you,
You don't have to
Vice
think
President.
about the
This
reality of
economy around by
politics
cutting
because it's so
taxes,
absurd.
rolling back
Because this
regulations,
makes
Thank you,
me
Vice President.
understand.
fighting for
like,
free and fair trade.
This is
and
rooted
all
in
of
how
that
politics
Vice
actually
President.
works.
with Joe Biden
And it's
Kamala
miserable.
Harris.
You know, that's
It's
a good
fucking
segue
miserable.
into our third
great
topic,
segue.
which is about the economy. This has been another aspect of life for Americans that's been so affected by this coronavirus. We have a jobs crisis brewing. On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but the job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of discouraged workers have stopped looking for work. Nearly 11 million jobs that existed at the beginning of the year haven't been replaced. Those hardest hit include Latinos, Blacks, and women. Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that new spending by raising $4 trillion in taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. Some economists warn that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create jobs. Would raising taxes
I love
put
listening
the
to some
recovery
economists.
at risk? And you have 2 minutes to
There's
answer.
too left wing. There's
uninterrupted.
too anti-business. That's the one thing I'll say about Joe Biden is he's
I think there couldn't be a
anti-business.
more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy
Yeah,
based
we need
on
to bring
the
out the
health
folding
and
chairs.
the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing, which is why he passed a tax bill benefiting the top 1% and the biggest corporations of America.
I wonder if
leading
people will
to
actually
a
like the Pence
$2
as being
trillion
more civil.
deficit that the American people are going to have to pay.
Because he absolutely is playing the
On
civility
day
card
one,
more
Joe
than
Biden
Kamala is.
will repeal that
They might be
tax
doing
bill.
that
He'll get
to
rid of it.
compensate.
And what he'll do with
for,
the
like,
money
the
is
Trump-
invest it
the
in the
shit Trump
American
did.
people. And through a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I remember hearing about some infrastructure week. I don't think it ever happened. But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads and bridges, but also investing in clean energy and renewable energy. Joe is going to invest that money in what we need to do around innovation. There was a time when our country believed in science and invested in
Yes,
research
Queen.
and development.
All of these are yes,
so that
Queen
we were
moments.
an innovation leader on the globe. Joe Biden will use that money to invest in education. So, for example, for folks who want to go to a 2-year community college, it will be free. If you come from a family that makes less than
Pell Grants.
$125,000, you'll go to a public university for free. And across the board, we'll make sure that if you have student loan debt, it's cut by $10,000. That's how Joe Biden thinks about the economy, which is it's about investing in the people of our country as opposed to passing a tax bill.
Yeah, when did
which
we
had the
believe in
benefit
science?
of letting American corporations go offshore to do their business.
Because that implies that, you know,
Thank you,
You're
Senator
welcome.
Harris. Vice President Pence, your
Carbon
administration
emissions
has
were
been
severely
predicting
cut.
a rapid and robust recovery. But the latest economic report suggests that's not happening. Should Americans be braced
Oh,
for
fact
an
check.
economic comeback that is going to take not months,
Fact check,
but a
baby.
year or more? You have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
When President Trump and I took office,
Fake news.
America had gone through the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. Because when Joe Biden was vice president, they tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing economy.
Yes,
President
that's
Trump cut
true.
taxes
America believes
across
in
the
race
board.
science.
Despite what
But they
Senator
still
Harris
do.
says, the average American family
Biased,
of four had
liberal
$2,000 in savings in taxes. And with the rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hardworking Americans, the average household income for a family of four increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes. It's really remarkable to think. I mean, right after a time where we're going through a pandemic that lost 22 million jobs at the height, we've already added back 11.6 million jobs because we had a president who cut taxes, rolled
Got our
back
ass.
regulation, unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States. to
What
give
did she
direct
say?
payments to families.
It was
Saved
like,
50 million
we're
jobs
going to
through the
remove a
Paycheck
tax cut
Protection
for rich
Program.
people.
We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise
cops are
taxes.
bad
They want to
cops.
bury
Good
our
night and
economy
good
under
luck
a
from
$2
beyond
trillion
the Atlantic.
Green New Deal, which you were one of the
Yes.
original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate.
Hazardous.
They
Thank you
want
for
to
$13,
abolish fossil
12
fuels
cents. Good
and
night.
ban fracking, which would cost hundreds of thousands
She wants to ban fracking,
of
baby.
American
Based.
jobs all across the heartland. And
Based.
Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender to China, that when we took office,
Based.
half of our international trade deficit was with China alone. And Joe Biden wants
I was
to repeal
expecting
all
Kamala
of the
to be
tariffs
more yes
that
queen in
President
this.
Trump put into effect to fight for
And, like,
American
grill
jobs
him.
and American workers.
But, like,
Joe Biden
not-
says
they can't even
democracy's
do
on
that.
the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan.
They can't even do
American
that.
economy, the American comeback is on the ballot with 4 more years of growth
Thank you,
and
sir.
opportunity,
Thank you,
4
Vice
more years of President Donald Trump. 2021
Thank
is
you,
going
Vice
to be the
President
biggest
Pence.
economic year in the history of this country.
She
Thank you,
should
Vice
mention
President
that.
Pence.
The second
Senator
stimulus bill
Harris.
being...
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000
He said
a
he's
year.
going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well,
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth.
Boss Queen.
Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working
this makes
family
me so uncomfortable.
$2,000 in a tax break every single year.
That
Senator,
that is
that's the math.
absolutely not true. That
Is he
tax
only
bill,
cutting? Is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then
Please.
have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden is the one
This
who,
makes me so
during
uncomfortable,
the
man.
Great Recession, was responsible
I don't know what to say.
for the Recovery Act that brought America back, and now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take
No
credit.
end to fracking. Thank you, Queen.
When they
Go
ran,
off.
when they rode the
Get his ass,
coattails
Queen.
of Joe Biden's success for the economy that
Yes,
they had at the
I
beginning
cannot
of their
wait for
term.
people
Of
to
course,
say
now
that
the
Pence is
economy a complete
mansplaining.
disaster. But Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great Depression. On the one hand, you have Joe Biden, who was responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act, which brought health care to over 20 million Americans and protected people with pre-existing conditions. And what it also did is it saved those families who otherwise were going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now,
It's funny
trying
they're
to
not
get rid
even-
of,
Thank you, Senator
trying to
Harris.
get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which means that you will lose protections if you have pre-existing conditions. And this is very important, Susan.
Yes,
and it's
but we
important.
need to give Vice President.
I'd just like to, he interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please.
Yeah, you should ask
If
for your
you
time
have a
back,
pre-existing
Queen.
condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you. If you love someone who has a pre-existing condition,
Thank you,
they're
Senator
coming
Harris.
for you. If you are under
I
the
mean,
age
these
of
debates
26
mean
on your
fucking
parents'
nothing if there
coverage,
isn't
they're
actually a
coming for you.
meaningful.
Senator Harris, thank you.
You're
Let me
welcome.
give you a chance to respond.
Well, I hope we have a chance to talk about health care because Obamacare was a disaster. The American people remember it well. And President Trump and I have a
Medicaid
plan
was good, but
to improve health care and to protect pre-existing conditions for every American.
they're coming for you.
But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking.
Good line.
Joe Biden looked at a supporter in the eye and pointed and said, I guarantee that we will abolish fossil fuels. They have a $2 trillion version of the Green New
Kamala
Deal.
thinks-
Susan,
doesn't
your
think she's in the
newspaper,
West
USA
Wing.
Today said, really,
She
wasn't
thinks
that
she's
very
like
different from the original
the character
Green
that
New
breaks
Deal?
the fourth
More
wall in the West
taxes,
Wing.
More regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more years of President Donald Trump.
Thank you very, very much, Vice President Pence. Once again, you've provided the perfect segue to a new topic, which is climate change.
Here
and
we
Vice
go,
President
baby.
Pence, I'd like to pose the first question to you. This year, we've seen record-setting hurricanes in the South. Another one, Hurricane Delta, is now threatening the Gulf. And we have seen
I wonder why that
record-setting
is.
wildfires in the West. Do you believe, as the scientific community has concluded, that man-made climate change has made wildfires bigger, hotter, and more deadly?
I wonder
and
what
have
he's
made
gonna say
hurricanes
about
wetter,
this.
slower, and more damaging? You have 2 minutes.
Where he's like, I'm sure there's some
Thank you,
effects,
Susan.
but you know, it's just.
First,
a
I'm very proud of our record on the environment and on conservation.
What?
According
You
to
shouldn't
all
be.
of the best estimates, our air and land are cleaner than any time ever
Cleanest
recorded.
air,
And
folks.
our water is among the cleanest in the world. And just a little while ago, the president signed the Outdoors Act. It's the largest investment in our public lands and public parks in 100 years. So President Trump has made a commitment to conservation and to the environment.
Our water is
Now,
the
with
cleanest
regard to
water,
climate
folks.
change,
Cleanest
the
water.
climate is changing.
The water's so
issue
clean.
Is,
Just the,
what's the cause? And
the
what do we
lead
do
is a
about it?
different thing. Different thing,
President
not
Trump has
related
made
to
it
the water.
clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the Green
literally
New Deal.
nothing.
which would crush American energy, would increase
10 million
the energy
jobs.
costs of American families in their homes.
Yes,
and literally
so
would
we
crush
wouldn't
American jobs.
boil alive in
President
ocean
Trump and
water.
I believe that the progress that we have made
Because of global
in
warming.
a cleaner environment has been happening precisely because we have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is the United States
They're very
has reduced
intimately
CO2
related, just conversely.
more than the countries that are still in the Paris Climate Accord, but we've done
Well,
it
yeah,
through
because the climate accord
innovation.
is like not a big
And we've
deal.
done it through natural gas and fracking.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Which, Senator, the American people can go look at the record. I know Joe Biden says otherwise now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking.
Abolish
And so
fossil
by
fuels is so
creating
based.
the kind of American innovation,
Abolish them.
we're actually steering toward a stronger and better environment. With regard to wildfires, President Trump and I believe that forest management has to be front and center, and even Governor Gavin Newsom from your state has agreed we've got to work on forest management.
You predicted
With regard
it,
to
what I
hurricanes, the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually as difficult as they are,
Pens interrupts
there are no more
the Biden
hurricanes
There we
today
go.
than there were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the climate
Oh, yeah, it's
alarms,
the exact same,
hurricanes
dude.
and wildfires,
Oh, for
to try
sure,
and
buddy.
sell
Thank you,
their
Vice
bill of
President
goods of a Green New Deal. And President Trump and I are going to always put
Thank you,
American
Vice
jobs and
President
American
Pence.
workers first.
All right, how
Senator
does she
Harris,
respond to
as
this?
the Vice President mentioned, you
Because she's the
co-sponsored
yes
Green
queen,
Deal in
Aaron
Congress.
Sorkin.
But Vice President Biden said in last week's debate
Yes,
that he
Queen
does
Aaron
not
Sorkin
support the
person.
Green New Deal. But if you look at the Biden-Harris
You
campaign
gotta use the
website, it
fucking
describes
facts
the
and
Green New
logic.
Deal
If
as
she
a
if she
crucial
flops
framework.
on this,
What exactly would be the stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the Green New Deal? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact. I will repeat that Joe Biden has
Yes,
been very
Queen.
clear that
Yes,
he
Queen.
thinks about growing jobs,
Show
which
off.
is why he will not increase taxes for anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. Joe Biden's economic plan, Moody's,
This is
which
flop.
is a reputable
She's
Wall Street
flopping.
firm, has said will create 7 million more jobs than Donald Trump's. And part of those jobs that will be created by Joe Biden are going to be about clean energy and renewable energy. Because you see,
she's just
Joe
totally letting him
understands
say whatever the fuck he
that
wants.
The west
And then
coast
he,
of our country
like,
is
corrects
burning,
her.
including my home state of California. Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf states.
I don't
which
know
are
if
being
Joe
battered
is
by
able to
storms.
form these
Joe
thoughts.
has seen and talked with the farmers in Iowa.
But I get what you mean.
Whose entire crops have been destroyed because of floods. And so Joe believes, again, in
Kamala is
science.
just
I'll
referring
tell
to
you
herself
something,
in the
Susan.
third
I served when I
person.
first got to the Senate on the committee that's responsible for the environment. Do you know this administration took the word science off the website and then took the phrase climate change off the website? We have seen a pattern
I mean,
with
yeah,
this
that just
administration,
happens.
which is they don't believe in science. And Joe's plan is about saying we're going to deal with it, but we're also going to create jobs. Donald Trump, when asked about the wildfires in California, and the question was, the science is
Okay,
telling us
this
this. You know
is
what Donald
fine,
Trump
I
said?
guess.
Science doesn't know.
I fucking love science.
So
He did
let's
say
talk
that.
about
He
who
did say
is
that.
prepared to lead our country over the course of the next 4
The point was
years
about the Green New
on
Deal,
what is
yeah.
an existential
She
threat
dodged.
to us as human beings.
Which is
Joe
smart.
is about saying we're going to
It's smart
invest
to
that
dodge
in
on
renewable
that.
energy.
Because
which will be
Biden
about the
didn't
creation of
dodge,
millions
and
of
Trump was
jobs.
like,
We
you
will
just lost the
achieve
left.
Net zero emissions by 2050, carbon neutral by 2035. Joe has a plan. This has been a lot of talk from the Trump administration, and really it has been to go backward instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator Harris just said that climate change is an existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
Is he going to answer?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science. But once again, Senator Harris
He's not gonna answer. Easy dodge. Oh my
denying
God.
the fact that they're going to raise taxes
Climate's changing.
on every American. Joe Biden said
pivot.
twice in the debate last week that on day one he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. Those tax cuts delivered $2,000 in tax relief to the average family of 4 across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people Look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out, the Green New Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said,
it absolutely is not. I fucking wish it was.
As you co-sponsored with
this
AOC
is so
when
awesome.
She submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit
just
America
be
to the
left
Paris
wing.
Climate
This
Accord.
is the funniest
Look,
shit ever.
The American
it's
people
like we want all of the
always
things
cherished
that
our
left
environment.
wing, like the
We'll
like
cherish it.
progressives
We've made
want,
great progress
like AOC and Bernie,
reducing
but we
CO2
won't commit to the
emissions through
specific
American
things they
innovation
want.
and the development of natural
We're
gas
too
through
afraid
fracking.
we're gonna
We
get called a
don't need
socialist.
a massive $2 trillion Green New
Just
Deal that would
fucking
impose all new
say
mandates
you're
on
for the
American
Green New Deal.
businesses and American families.
Because all of the conservatives are going to believe whatever the fuck.
Thank you, Vice President.
Business buildings.
Regardless,
it makes no sense. It will
they're going to
cost
think you're on for the Green New
jobs.
Deal
President
anyways.
Trump
Thank you,
is
Vice
going to put
President.
America first. He's going to put jobs first.
It's listed
and
as a
we're gonna take
framework.
Care of our environment. And
I don't
follow
even.
the
What
science.
the fuck does
But
that mean?
on the issue of jobs,
Senator Harris.
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier referred to, as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment, the president's trade war with China. You lost that trade war. You lost it. What ended up
I don't know what this point is.
Is because of a so-called trade war
I haven't
with
heard
China,
this before.
America lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession.
This is a new angle.
Because of it. And when we look at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this
trade
administration,
tariffs are not
they
good for
will
capitalism.
have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration. And the American people know what I'm talking about.
That's a new angle.
I think
They're
about
not trying to
20-year-olds.
out Cold War each
We have
other.
a 20-year-old, a 20-something-year-old, who are coming out of high school and college right now, and you're wondering, is there going to be a job
Appeal
here
to
for
me, Queen.
We're looking at people who
I have a
trying
Twitch
to
stream,
figure out
but
how
it's
they're going to
fine.
pay rent
Don't
by
worry
the end
about
of
me.
the month. Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be
I
able
don't-
to pay
this-
rent
this doesn't
by the end
fucking-
of the month.
this-
This is where the economy is in America right now,
Just
and
get a
it
quick
is because
Twitch
of
stream,
the
5 Ed.
catastrophe and the failure of
This doesn't
leadership of this
like,
administration.
You need
Thank
to
you,
embrace
Senator
the New
Harris.
Deal if you want to
Vice
like
President Pence,
actually
let me give you
reach
just
those
15
people.
seconds to respond, because then I want to move on to
Well,
others.
Or otherwise they won't give a fuck.
Lost the trade war with China.
They're
Joe
they're
Biden
fighting
never
for
fought it.
Republican voters.
Joe Biden has been a cheerleader for communist China through over the last several decades, and again,
I wanna
Harris,
see
you're entitled to
cheerleader
your opinion,
Biden.
You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was vice
Classic.
president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs, and President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3 years after we cut taxes,
This is a
rolled back
Republican
regulation,
primary,
unleashed
absolutely.
American energy, this administration saw 500,000
I mean,
manufacturing
the
jobs
point that the
created.
trade war with
And that's
China is bad
exactly
is
the
a
kind
new
of
one.
growth we're going to continue to
That's
see
a more
as we
like
bring our nation through
centrist,
this pandemic.
globalist thing, as
Green
opposed
New
to like
Deal, your
Vice
massive
President
new
Harris.
mandates, your
fascistic
Paris Climate
autarky.
Accord. It's going to kill jobs this time, just like it killed jobs.
I'd like
Susan,
to-
I just need to respond very briefly,
15
please.
seconds, and
Thank
then
you.
we'll move
Thank you. Joe Biden
He's the
is
first 3
responsible
seconds
for
of that.
saving America's auto industry, and you voted against it. So let's set the record straight. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about China. We have,
All right, that was
as our
good.
next topic,
That was a good little.
we have no more complicated or consequential foreign relationship than
I don't
the
know.
one with
Kamala
China.
hasn't been that good in this.
It is a huge market for American agricultural goods.
Because she's
It's a
supposed to be like the
potential
Sorkin
partner in
debater,
dealing with
you know?
climate change in North Korea. And in a video tonight, President Trump again blamed it for the coronavirus, saying
But she
China will
hasn't-
pay. Vice President Pence,
The way that
how
the
would you
Sorkin shit
describe
is always
our
structured as if like
fundamental
the liberal
relationship
is
with
better
China?
at debating
Competitors, adversaries,
and
enemies?
better at rhetoric or
You have
whatever.
2 minutes.
But that's
Thank
not
you,
really
Susan.
the case.
Well, before I leave that, let me speak to voting records if I can.
If I
You know,
lose the Green New Deal is a crucial
Everybody knows
framework.
that NAFTA cost literally
2 basic
thousands
truths.
of
United
American
States urgently
factories
needs to
close.
embrace greater ambition.
We saw automotive jobs go south of the border.
Right, so
President
like
Trump
it's a good
fought
idea, but we won't go
to
as hard
renegotiate
as
NAFTA.
they are.
The United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land. American people deserve to know Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA. It was a huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win
I have
for
no clue what
American
this
farmers,
is about.
especially dairy in the upper Midwest. But Senator, you said it didn't go far enough on climate change, that you put your radical environmental agenda ahead of American auto workers and ahead of American jobs. The American people deserve to know that. Is probably why Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019. More liberal
Did you
than
talk about milk?
More liberal than any of the others in the United States Senate. So now, with regard to China, look, Susan, first and foremost, China is to blame for the coronavirus. And President Trump
I wonder
is not
if
happy
Kamala
about it.
will push
He's
back
made
on
very
that.
Clear. Made it clear again today. China and the World Health Organization did not play straight with the American people. They did not let our personnel into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February.
Why would they?
Fortunately, President Trump.
Why would they do that?
In dealing
If
with
China asked
from
for
the
that
outset of
shit,
this administration, standing up to
we
China,
would say
that had been
no.
taking advantage of America
We would say
for
yes.
decades.
No Western
In the
nation would
wake
say
of
yes to that.
Joe Biden's cheerleading for China. President Trump made that decision before the end of January to suspend all travel from China. And again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President Trump's decision to suspend all travel from China. He said it was hysterical. He said it was
Thank you, Vice
xenophobic.
President Pence.
But President Trump has
Vice President
stood
Pence,
up
your
to
time is
China.
up.
We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
We want to improve the relationship, but we're going to level the playing field, and we're going to hold
Vice President
China
Pence.
accountable for what they did to
Mods.
America with the coronavirus.
Thank you. Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question.
That's not
that I
as
asked
bad
the Vice
as
President.
just going over
How
your
would
time.
you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Are we competitors, adversaries,
This is interesting.
enemies?
I'm curious.
You'll have 2 minutes
What's
uninterrupted.
What's this rhetorical point?
Susan, the Trump
Because it seems like
administration's
Biden wasn't saying this shit.
perspective and approach to China has resulted in the loss of American lives, American jobs, and America's standing. There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had with getting rid of whatever accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice President Biden. For example,
it's a different
they created
narrative
within
which
the
I'm-
White House an office
It's interesting.
that
Most of the
basically was
Democrat,
responsible for monitoring pandemics.
for the most part, the Democrats
They got away-
don't
they got
try
rid
to
of it.
like go
There
against the Republican
was
narratives.
a team of disease experts that
Like socialism
President
is bad, but
Obama
I'm not a
and
socialist.
Vice President Biden
The Green New Deal,
dispatched
the Green New
to
Deal
China
is too far, but I'm not
to monitor
subscribed to that. That type
is
of
now
shit.
predictable and what might happen. They pulled them out. We now are looking at 210,000 Americans who have lost their lives. Let's look at the job situation. We mentioned before.
Yeah,
the
the
trade
debate is
deal,
extremely sleepy.
the
Absolutely.
trade war, they wanted to call it, with China. It resulted in the loss of over 300 manufacturing jobs.
I
and a
wonder how many
manufacturing
people are
recession.
watching this shit.
And the American consumer paying thousands
Compared
of
to
dollars
the
more
presidential
for
one.
goods because of that failed war that they called it. Then let's talk about standing. Pew, a reputable research firm, has done an analysis that shows that leaders of all of our formerly allied countries have now decided that they hold in greater esteem and respect Xi Jinping, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, than they do
pronounced-
Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States. This is where we are
You
today.
said Xi's name wrong.
Because of a failure of leadership by this administration.
Senator Harris, we've seen changes in the role of the United States in terms of global leadership.
Yeah, that's my
over the past
president,
4
is
years.
Xi.
And of course, times do change. What's your definition? We've seen strains with China, of course, as the Vice President mentioned. We've seen strains with our traditional allies in NATO and elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership in 2020?
World police, baby.
So, you know, Joe is, I love talking with
Just
Joe
like
about a lot of
90s.
these issues. And, you know, Joe, I think he said it quite well. He says, you know, foreign
There's
policy
no way he
might
said
sound
this.
complicated, but really it's relationships. So just think about it as relationships.
Actually, no, I feel like Joe did say
And
that. That sounds
so
like
we
a thing
know
he would
this in our
say.
personal and professional relationships. You got to keep your word to your friends.
That sounds
You got
like
to
a
be loyal
thing.
to your friends. People who
Listen,
stood
Mac,
with you,
you
gotta
just
stand
use
with
it like
them.
your friend.
You got to know who your adversaries are and keep them in check. But what we have seen with Donald Trump is that he has betrayed our friends
It's just 90s like Clinton, NATO politics.
Embraced dictators around the world. Let's take, for example, Russia.
There we go,
So,
baby.
Russia, I serve on the Intelligence Committee of the United States Senate. America's intelligence community told us Russia interfered in the election of the President of the United States in 2016.
Are they going to bring up the Afghanistan?
Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, said the
Russiagate,
same.
baby.
But Donald Trump, the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, prefers to take the word of Vladimir Putin over the word of the American intelligence community. You look at our friends at NATO. He has walked away from agreements.
Reaffirm NATO relationships.
Look at the Iran nuclear deal.
Turn Belarus into a NATO outpost.
In a position where we are less
go,
safe
baby.
because they are building up what might end up being a significant nuclear arsenal. We were in that deal, guys. We were in the Iran nuclear deal with friends, with allies around the country.
This is
and
correct.
because of Donald Trump's unilateral approach to foreign policy, coupled with his isolationism, he pulled us out and has made America less safe. So, Susan, it's about relationships. And the thing that has always been part of the strength of our nation, in addition to our great military, has been that we keep our word. But Donald Trump doesn't understand that because he doesn't understand what it means to be honest.
Thank you, thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, something to be
Iran doesn't want to build a nuke. They haven't
President
really
Trump kept his word when we
they
moved
are.
the American embassy to Jerusalem, the capital of the state of Israel.
I wonder what Kamala's
When
going
Joe
to say
Biden was
about
vice
that.
president,
Is
they
that bad?
promised to do that, and they never did. We've stood strong
Did they?
with our allies, but we've been demanding.
That's fucked up that they
NATO
promised
is
that.
now contributing more to our common defense than ever before, thanks to President Trump's leadership. We've strengthened our alliances across the Asia-Pacific, and we've stood strong against those who would do us harm. You know, when President Trump came into office, ISIS had captured an area of the Middle East the size of Pennsylvania. But President Trump
And it was because Obama let
unleashed
them,
the
obviously.
American military, and our
Let me
armed
be
forces
clear.
destroyed the ISIS
I
caliphate
will not let
and took down their leader,
the U.S.
al-Baghdadi,
military
without one American casualty.
defeat the Islamic State.
Al-Baghdadi was responsible
Al-Baghdadi.
for the death
He's a friend of mine.
thousands.
I like what he's doing, and I will not
Notably, America's hearts together
America.
with the family of Kayla Mueller, her parents of which
Said,
are here with us tonight. in Salt Lake City.
Wahhabist Obama.
Today, two of the ISIS killers responsible for Kayla Mueller's murder were brought to justice in the United States.
Did you miss anything?
Jihadi
Not
John
really.
was killed on the battlefield along with the other beetle. The reality is that when Joe Biden was vice president, we had an opportunity to save Kayla Mueller.
They just continued
Breaks
the
my
same
heart to reflect
policies.
on it, but the military came into the Oval Office, presented a
They
plan.
continued doing the same
said they knew where
policies they
Kayla
did
was.
before.
Baghdadi had held her for 18 months, abused her mercilessly before they killed her. But when Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated for a month. And when armed forces finally went in, it was clear she'd been moved 2 days earlier. And her family says with a heart that broke the heart of every American that if President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today.
Oh yeah, just totally fucking
the ISIS
disrespecting her
caliphate.
name. There's no
And
way
talk
she would have
about
supported Trump.
re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. I mean, the last
No
administration
fucking way.
transferred
That would be
$1.8
so.
billion
Your fucking
to
dipshit
the
conservative
leading state
parents
sponsor
disrespect your name.
of terrorism. President
That's
Donald
fucking
Trump got
rough.
us out of the
We
deal.
saw that.
And when
Your
Qasem
parents go there and see
Soleimani
we
was
saw that.
traveling
That's
to
fucking-
Baghdad
Thank you,
to do
Vice President
harm
Pence.
to Americans,
Soleimani
President Donald
defeated
Trump
ISIS
took
in
us.
Iraq.
And
He led the
America
coalition to
is
defeat them.
safer. Our allies are
Why are
safer.
you
And the
bringing them
American
up in the
people
same
know
conversation as
President Donald
ISIS?
Trump will never
Thank you, Vice President.
Mods.
take action.
I would like to
Mods.
give Senator Harris a chance to respond, but not at such great length because, of course, there are other topics we want to talk about.
But I would like equal time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
First of all, to the Mueller family, I know about your daughter's case, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
cops are
What happened to
bad
her
cops.
is awful, and it should have never
420
happened.
confused. Thank you for
And
jumping
I
in
know
this
Joe
box.
feels the same way.
It wouldn't have happened
And
if
I
you
know that
fucking,
President
if you
Obama feels the
didn't
same
invade Iran or Iraq. Sorry.
But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there.
Yes, let's.
So after the strike on Soleimani,
You did.
there was a counter strike on our troops in Iraq. And they suffered serious brain injuries. And do you know what Donald Trump dismissed them as? Headaches. And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump's.
I thought she might have said that it was bad that they did that.
To our men who are serving in our military as suckers and losers. Donald Trump, who went to Arlington Cemetery.
This is smart.
And stood above the graves of our fallen heroes.
The fact he did this shit is fucking wild.
What's in it for them? Because, of course, you know, he only thinks about what's in it for him.
That's probably true. That's why he did it.
What he said about John
He literally
McCain,
doesn't understand it.
a great American hero.
Civility queen, go off.
And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve to be called a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And this is very important when you want to talk about who is the current commander-in-chief and what they care about and what they don't care about.
We respect the troops more than they do.
Public reporting.
Republicans don't respect the troops
on
enough.
The heads of American soldiers. And you know what a bounty is? It's somebody puts a price on your head and they will pay it if you are killed. And Donald Trump had talked at least 6 times to Vladimir Putin and never brought up the subject.
She explains
Joe
bounties.
Biden would never do that.
Thank
Joe
you.
Biden would, but Joe Biden would hold Russia to account for any
People
threat
like this shit. People are gonna like
to
this.
our
I think.
nation's security or to our troops.
Because that's all that matters.
Who are
What do
sacrificing their
undecideds think?
lives for the sake of our democracy and our safety.
Thank you, Senator Harris. This is such
That's
an
the
important
only
issue,
thing
but
that
we
this
have
doesn't
other
affect
important
on.
issues as well. And
Susan,
I want to make sure we have a chance
I really have
to talk
to
about.
respond to that.
I'm,
Look, she has
15 seconds because
Well, I gotta
we're
have
trying
more
to
than
keep.
that. Look.
I'm sorry, but Vice President
Look,
Pence, you've
I-
had more time than she's had so far.
Slanders against President Donald Trump.
Fuck you,
regarding
mods.
Men and women of our armed forces.
I'm getting
are
30
absurd.
seconds at least.
I'm sorry, Vice
My
President
son
Pence.
is a captain in the United
Yes.
States Marine Corps. My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy.
I love
can assure
how
all of
mods can do literally
his sons
nothing.
and daughters serving in our military. President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous.
But
Let
thank
me
you,
also
Vice
say
President Pence.
the
Vice
American
President Pence,
people deserve, Susan,
Vice
the
President
American
Pence,
people
I
deserve to
didn't,
know.
Vice President
that-
Pence, I did not, excuse me,
Susan, the
I did
American
not
people
create
deserve
the
to
rules
know
for tonight.
Joe Biden
Your
and
campaigns agreed to the rules for tonight's
I-
debate with the Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm here to enforce them, which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time to both of you,
Go right
which is what I'm trying very hard to do.
Go right ahead.
So I want to go
There you
ahead
go.
and move to the next topic, which is an important one, as the last topic was, and that is the Supreme Court.
It's on the level of Chris Wallace. Yeah.
On Monday, the Senate Judiciary Committee
They
is
just do
scheduled to
not do
open
anything.
hearings on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Harris, you'll be there as a member of the
Pence did
committee.
lose his cool.
Her confirmation would
Yeah, you can
cement
tell
the court's
because he knows
conservative
there's nothing he
majority
can say
and make it likely
'cause it looks
open
bad.
to more abortion restrictions, even to overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling.
Oh, that's a good
Access to
question.
abortion would then be up to the states. Vice President Pence,
RGB
you're the
shout
former
out,
governor of
and the
Indiana.
fourth trimester
If Roe v.
abortion
Wade
stuff.
is overturned, what would you want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all
Oh.
abortions? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
He's not going to
Thank you
answer.
for the question.
He's
but
not going to
I'll
answer.
use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue before. The American people deserve to know Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death of hundreds of American service members. When the opportunity came, we saw him headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate, and Qasem Soleimani is gone. But you deserve to know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually criticized the decision to take out Soleimani.
He went to Iraq.
Qasem
He went to
Soleimani.
Baghdad to talk
It's really
to one of
inexplicable,
his
but
like
with regard to Joe
talk
Biden,
to another
it's-
country.
It's explainable.
Have
Because
a
history
discussion
records
with
that Joe
Iraq.
Biden actually opposed
Iraqi
the raid
government.
against Osama bin Laden. It's absolutely essential
He did not
that we
do
have a
that, by the way.
commander-in-chief
Chat
who will
optics.
not hesitate to act to protect American lives and to protect American service members, and that's what you have in President Donald Trump. Now, with regard to the Supreme Court of the United
Soleimani,
States,
180th trimester
let me say, President
abortion,
Trump
yeah.
and I could not be more enthusiastic about the opportunity to see Judge Amy Coney
Kamala and
Barrett
Biden
become Justice Amy Coney
opposed the
And she's a
extrajudicial
brilliant
killing
woman.
of the second most powerful
And,
member of
she will bring a
the Iranian
lifetime of
government.
experience and a sizable American family.
Oh yeah, he's
to
dodging
the
the
Supreme
question.
Court of the United States. And
Somebody's
our hope
chilling in
is, the
Tupac
hearing
with
next
Tupac
week,
in
unlike
Havana right
Justice
now.
Kavanaugh received with treatment from you and others.
They should have
we
given
hope she gets
a
fair hearing. And we particularly hope that we don't see the kind of attacks on her Christian faith that we saw before. I mean, the Democrat chairman
doing
of the
Catholic
Judiciary Committee before,
oppressing the fucking Catholics.
When Judge Barrett was being confirmed for the Court of Appeals,
doing literal
expressed
violence
concern that the dogma of
to
her faith lived
Catholics.
loudly in her. Dick Durbin of Illinois
To
said
traditional
that it was a
Catholics.
concern. Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees you actually attacked because they were a member of the Catholic Knights of Columbus, just because the Knights of Columbus holds pro-life views and
Thank you.
pro-marriage views.
Thank you, Vice President. Your time is
If
up.
any of you
hearing
have
takes place,
fucking
Thank you, Vice
conservative
President.
or
Yeah.
centrist
Judge Amy Coney Barrett
family who are like
Thank you, Vice
undecided,
President.
please,
Voted
and
and
you know
confirmed
their
the
reaction
Supreme
to
Court of
this,
the United
please
Senator
tell me.
Harris, you're
I'm so,
the senator
it's
from and
anecdotes,
former Attorney
so
General
it doesn't
of
mean anything,
California.
but
So
I'm
let me ask you
incredibly
a parallel
curious.
question to the one I posed to the Vice President. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want California to do? Would you want your home state to enact no restrictions on access to abortion? And you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. First of all, Joe Biden and I are both people of faith, and it's insulting to suggest that we would not
They're
pay them
POFs.
for their faith. And in fact, Joe,
As a person of faith.
if elected, will be only the second
Catholic
practicing
baby.
Catholic as president of the United States.
That's true.
On the issue of this,
How dare you
of this
accuse him of
nomination,
doing Catholiphobia?
Joe and I are very clear, as are the majority of the American people. We are 27 days before the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And, you know, before, when this conversation has come up, you know, it's
She
been
should
about
have pointed
election
out
year or election
that
time.
he dodged the question and
We're
then say
literally
unequivocally
in
yes.
an election.
I do not want to
Over
ban.
4 million people have voted. People are in the process of voting right now. And so Joe has been very clear, as the American people are. Let the American people fill that seat in the White House, and then we'll fill that seat on the United States Supreme Court. And to your point, Susan, the issues before us couldn't be more serious. There's the issue of choice, and I will always fight for a woman's right to make a decision about her own body. It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump and the Vice President, Michael Pence. But let's also look at what else is before the court. It's the Affordable Care Act. Like, literally in the midst of a public health pandemic, when over 210,000 people have died and 7 million people probably have what will be in the future considered a pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus. Donald Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And I said it
That's
before,
really important
and it
to
bears
emphasize.
repeating. This means
Biden sort of didn't bring
that
that
there will
up
be no more protections if they win for people with pre-existing conditions.
because that's just correct.
This means that over 20 million people will lose your coverage. It means that if you're under the age of 26, you can't stay on your parents' coverage anymore.
The problem
here's the
is
thing.
Kamala can't highlight the root
contrast couldn't
cause
be
of
more
that,
clear.
which
They're
is,
trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Joe Biden is
corporate
saying,
interests.
let's expand coverage. Let's give you a choice of a public option
Because
or
then it
private
resonates
coverage.
more. It's like, that's
Let's
why they're
bring down
pretending they're not
premiums.
going to do it and
Let's
doing it
lower
instead.
Medicare eligibility to 60.
Thank you, Senator.
That's true
Harris.
leadership.
You know, you mentioned
Bernie would have done
earlier,
that.
Vice
And
President Pence,
whatever-
that the
whatever
president was
VP Bernie
committed
would have had
to
would have done that too.
maintaining protections for people with pre-existing conditions. But you do have this court case that you are supporting, your administration supporting, that would strike down the Affordable Care Act. The president
that's
says,
just empirically
President
true.
Trump says that he's going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, but he has not explained how he would do that. And that was one of the toughest nuts to crack when they were passing the Affordable Care Act. So tell us specifically, how would your administration protect Americans with pre-existing conditions to have
That's
access
obviously
to
a very good
affordable
question.
insurance if the Affordable Care Act is struck down?
Liberal bias from the mods.
Thank you, Susan. But let me just say, addressing your very first question, I couldn't be more proud
He's gonna
to serve as
dodge.
Vice President to a president who stands
Oh,
without
the
apology
dodge.
for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it. And this is
Now
another
that you
one of
just
those
said it.
cases where there's such a dramatic contrast. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. Late
There we
term
go,
abortion. They
baby!
want to increase funding to Planned Parenthood.
Fourth
of America.
trimester abortions.
Now, for our part,
if you
I would
abort
never
your
presume
kid
how Judge Amy Coney
and you
Barrett
don't like
would
it,
rule
the
on
Dems
Supreme
they'll
Court
let you abort.
of the United States.
If or if you give birth
we'll
to your
continue
kid,
to stand
you don't like
strong
it.
for the right to life. When you
Where
speak
is
about
it?
the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer.
Where
Senator
is it?
Harris.
Where the fuck?
Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett
That's
is
it.
confirmed.
Answer the question, baby.
I mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the
Left
Supreme
people,
Court during
left-wing
presidential
people,
election
pay
years, from
attention.
George Washington to
There's a
Barack
lot of
Obama.
stakes here. Are they going to
Presidents
pack
have
the
nominated
court?
in all 29 cases. But
Doing
your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know.
I agree. I could not agree more,
Amy
Mike.
Coney Barrett is confirmed at the Supreme Court of the United States.
I cannot agree
Are
more,
you
Mike.
and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864...
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
No, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Okay. In 1864...
Libs are going to eat that shit up, dude.
Heroes, certainly of the president.
Libs are going to eat that shit up.
President is Abraham Lincoln.
Libs love
Abraham
that
Lincoln
shit, man.
Was up for re-election.
Because he packed the Supreme Court, didn't he? Or he expanded
the
it?
election.
It's the last time.
And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said,
no, this is
it's
smart.
not the right thing to do.
I got to hand
the
it to
American
Kamala.
people deserve to
I
make
think people will
the
like
decision
this.
about who will be the next president of the United States.
Dude, it's
And then
literally
that
27
person
days to the
can
election.
select who will serve for a lifetime
Yeah, that's
on the
smart.
highest court. of
Lincoln
our
Project
land.
is about to fucking
And
bust.
so Joe and I are very clear. The American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision.
Is she going to answer
about
that?
who will
Is she going to dodge?
serve on this most important body
Is she going to dodge?
for a lifetime.
Yeah, she's dodging.
Thank you.
She
And
dodged.
the People, Susan, are voting right now. They'd
She
like
dodged.
to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get
Yeah,
your
this
way
is
in
smart.
this nomination.
Kamala doesn't do
Let's
this.
talk about packing.
Once
Come
again
on.
gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave
That's-
a non-answer.
he's right.
Answer you
The
now.
American people deserve a
Is he
straight
gonna
answer.
do it?
And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election.
Whatever the
Men and
call
women,
it is.
I got to tell you, people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject
She got owned.
the Biden-Harris
She's getting owned right
ticket.
now.
Come
She's-
November
she's
the 3rd,
getting fucking owned right
re-elect
now.
President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by
She's-
that separation
Yeah,
of powers.
yeah,
and
no,
the
Pence
9-seat
got her.
Supreme Court.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court then. Let's talk about the
Please.
fact.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
see.
about to.
What is she going to say? What is she going to say?
The Trump-Pence
I have no
administration
clue. What are they doing?
Because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments,
What
the
is
lifetime
this?
appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by,
She's
by
just
legal
stalling.
professional organizations.
Why
and
do they
found
not
that
have
they
anything
did
to say
not
about this?
competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals
This is
for
bad.
lifetime
This
appointments,
is bad. I don't know what the
not
fuck
one
she's
is black?
doing. This does not look good.
This is what they've
She's
been doing. You want to
filibustering
talk
the
about
shit.
packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
That's the
All right,
worst
thank you.
dodge
Thank you,
ever.
Senator. Let's go on and talk about the issue of racial
Jeez.
justice.
I just want the record to reflect she never answered the question.
That's
But
what you
remember,
do.
Maybe the next debate, Joe
Pence
Biden
didn't
will
answer a
the
shit
question,
ton of
but I think the American
questions.
people know the answer.
Thank you, Vice
And she just said
President.
nothing about it.
In March, Breonna Taylor,
Oh,
a
my
26-year-old
gosh.
emergency room technician in Louisville, was shot and killed after police officers
Yeah, no, that was a
executed
great
search
play by
warrant in
Pence.
a narcotics
That was very
investigation
smart.
broke into her apartment. The police said they identified themselves. Taylor's boyfriend said he didn't hear them do that. He used a gun registered to
They
him
did the
to
half
fire a
knock grade,
shot,
right?
which wounded an officer.
Which is basically
The
a
officers
no-knock
then
grade.
fired more than 20 rounds into the apartment. They say they were acting
I
in
feel like
self-defense.
this is not going to end.
None of them have been indicted in connection with her death.
I don't want. What's the?
Senator Harris, in the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes.
I don't believe
Oh,
so, and I've talked with Breonna's
'Cause she-
mother, Tamika Palmer.
because
and her
remember,
family,
did Harris said that
and
the
her
ruling
family
was fine.
deserves justice. She was a beautiful young woman. She had as her life goal
See,
to
what did
become
she
a
say
nurse,
about
and
it?
She wanted to become an EMT
Kamala
to
said
first
some
learn what's going
Awful
on
shit about it.
out on the street, so she could then become a nurse and save lives.
She said,
And
"What
her
did she
life was
say?"
taken
I don't want to. People are gonna get
unjustifiably
mad
and
if I
tragically
fucking
and violently.
misquote her.
And it just it brings me to
Was it that she agreed with the
the 8 minutes and 46
hearing?
seconds that America witnessed, during which an
I mean,
American
obviously-
man
Obviously, the Democrats have a better
and killed
position than the Republicans.
under the knee
just
of
more
an
popular
armed,
appeal.
uniformed police officer.
She said
And
the process needs to
around
play
our
out and that the
country
ruling has to be respected. That's
of
what, yeah.
every race, of every age,
Not
of
that
every
there is
gender,
unequivocally
perfect strangers to each other, marched shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, fighting for us to finally achieve that ideal of equal justice under law.
This
and
is
I was
pretty
a part of those
unsubstantive.
peaceful protests. And I believe strongly
There's no policy
that, first of all, we are never going to
discussion.
condone violence, but we always must fight for the values that we hold dear.
I don't know
including
why
the
she
fight
pivoted
to achieve
to
our ideals.
Why not
And that's why Joe
specifically
Biden and
talk
I have
about
said
Breonna
on
Taylor
this subject.
and like the
Look,
problem
I'm
of no-knock
former
raids?
career prosecutor. I know what I'm talking about.
Because how does that happen,
bad
right?
Cops are
Yeah,
bad for good cops.
you're
We
you're
need
a
reform
federal
of
prosecutor. How
our
the fuck did that
policing in
happen?
America and our criminal justice system,
'Cause she
which is
can't
why
answer the
Joe and
question,
I
yeah.
will immediately
I mean-
ban chokeholds and carotid holds. George Floyd would be alive today if we did that.
You're gonna talk
We
about
will
raids?
require a national registry for police officers who break
That's
the law.
why she brought up George
We
Floyd,
will,
is
on the
because
issue
they
of
have
criminal
like
justice
they're banning
reform,
chokeholds, which
get rid of
by the
private
way,
prisons and cash bail.
I believe
And
in
we
New
will
York in
decriminalize
2013
marijuana,
chokeholds were banned.
and
Thank you, Senator Harris.
we will expunge the records of those who have
Thank you,
been
Senator
convicted
So there's a lot
of
of
marijuana.
there's
This
a lot
is
of
time for
police
leadership
precincts where
on
they're
a
already banned and it doesn't fucking do
tragic
anything.
issue
Senator Harris,
of
your time is
unarmed
up.
black people in America who
Thank
have
you,
been
Senator
killed.
Harris. Vice President Pence, let me pose the same question
But yeah,
to you.
she pivoted to
In the
George Floyd
case of Breonna
specifically, not
Taylor,
Breonna Taylor.
Was justice done? You have
Because
2 minutes.
I wonder what Pence is gonna say.
Well, our heart breaks
Kangaloo, thank you for the 500 bits.
for the loss of any innocent American lives.
So he's all lives
The
mattering
family
it.
of Breonna
It's
Taylor
not a
has our
surprise.
sympathies. But I trust our justice system.
Post one on Pajama
A
Wrestler.
grand
Thank you for
jury
the
that
700
refused
bits.
the evidence.
By the way, they have
And
the
it
same
really is
position on
remarkable
this.
that as a former
Both have the same
prosecutor,
position on this.
you would assume that an impaneled grand jury looking at all the evidence got it wrong, but you're entitled
That's
to
not
your
what she
opinion,
said.
Senator. I think, look, and with regard to George Floyd, there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd. And justice will be served.
Yeah,
but there's also no excuse for the rioting and looting that followed. I mean, it really is astonishing. Flora Westbrook is with us here tonight in Salt Lake City.
Yes, I guess
Just
they.
a few weeks
Tall
ago,
Laura,
I
thank you for 100
stood at
bits.
what used to be
Oh yeah, both endorse Law and Order. Where is
her
that?
salon was burned to the ground by rioters and looters. And Flora is still trying to put her life back together. And I must tell you, this presumption that you hear consistently from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
We've gotten like no, because this is like a real
that America
debate.
is systemically racist.
It's not absurd.
And that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit bias against minorities is a great insult.
By the way, like,
to the men and
there's a
women who
fucking
serve in
fly
law
on his head.
enforcement. I want everyone to know who puts on the uniform
I just
of law
noticed that.
enforcement every day. And President Trump and I stand with you. And it is remarkable
rocks.
that when Senator Tim Scott tried to pass a police reform bill, brought together a group of Republicans and Democrats, Senator Harris, you got up and walked out of the room. And then you filibustered Senator Tim Scott's bill on the Senate floor that would have provided new accountability, new resources. But we don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement, improving public safety, and
He's
supporting
like-
our African-American
Thank you,
neighbors.
It
literally
and all of
isn't
our
leaving.
minorities.
It's
Under
staying
President
on his
Trump's
fucking
leadership,
head. Thank you,
we'll
Vice President
always
Harris.
stand with law enforcement, and we'll do
fly is
what
trapped
we've
in his
done from
hair.
day
Pence,
one, and
thank
that is
you. Your time
improve
is
the
How long is
lives
it
of
staying on
African
there?
Americans.
I
Thank you,
wanted
Vice
Record
President
unemployment.
It's not moving.
Record
Vice
investments in
President Pence, your time
education,
is
and we'll
up.
fight for school choice for all of
School
them.
choice,
Vice
baby,
President.
let's go.
Senator Harris.
Why did you bring
I
up
will
school
not sit here and
choice?
be lectured by the Vice President on what it means to enforce the laws of our country. I am the only one on this stage who has personally prosecuted everything from child sexual assault to homicide.
She's a top
I'm
cop,
the
baby.
only one on this stage who has prosecuted the big banks
Where's
for
school
taking
choice?
advantage
I put
of
that,
America's
didn't I?
homeowners. I'm the only one on this stage who prosecuted
School
for-profit
choice.
colleges for taking advantage
It's
of
still
our
on his
veterans.
fucking head.
And the reality
Give
of
the
this
fly
is
2 minutes. What does he have to
that
say?
We are talking
What does he have
about
to
an
say?
election in 27 days, where last week the President of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
And
that's empirically
it
true.
wasn't like he didn't have a chance. He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when pressed, stand back, stand by. And
This
is a part of a pattern
This is good.
of Donald Trump's. He called Mexicans rapists and criminals. He instituted as his first act a Muslim ban. On the issue of Charlottesville, where people were
is the flag
peacefully
on?
protesting.
Okay. Goodbye, flag.
The need for
You'll be
racial
missed.
justice, where a young woman was killed.
That's the
and
most
on the
joy
other
I've
side,
had in
there
this
were
debate is watching that
neo-Nazis
fly.
carrying tiki torches, shouting racial epithets, anti-Semitic slurs.
There you go.
And Donald Trump, when asked about it, said there were fine people on both sides. This is who we have as the president of the United States. And America, you deserve better. Joe Biden will be a president who brings our country together.
Senator Harris.
And recognizes the beauty in our diversity and the fact that we
Senator
all
Harris,
have so much more in common than what separates us.
Vice President Pence, let me give you
That's good,
a minute
I guess.
to respond.
I don't fucking
Thank
know.
you, Susan. I appreciate that very much. You know, I think this is one of the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country, Susan. Is that
Fake
you
news.
selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did.
Fake news.
Comments that President Trump and I and others on our side of the aisle make. I mean, Senator Harris conveniently omitted after the president made
Her
comments
eyes
about
widened.
people
That's literally-
on either
she did spot
side
it.
of the debate over monuments. He condemned the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and has done so repeatedly. You're concerned that he doesn't.
You just
condemn
lost the far right.
neo-Nazis.
Yeah, that's what Kamala
President
should
Trump
say.
has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter
Amazing.
and son-in-law are Jewish. This is a president who respects and cherishes all of the American people. But you talk about
That's
having
great.
personally prosecuted. I'm glad you brought up your record, Senator.
Thank you.
But I really need to make this point. When you were DA
What's he gonna
in
bring
San
up?
Francisco,
What is he gonna bring up?
when you left office, African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than whites
That's
and
true.
Hispanics. When you were Attorney General
you.
of California,
Thank you,
you
Vice President.
increased the disproportionate incarceration of
Thank
blacks
you.
in California.
Yes, she's
you
a
did
cop.
nothing on criminal justice reform in California. You didn't lift a finger to
you.
She's a
pass
cop.
the First Step Back on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record
Thank
speaks
you,
for
Vice
itself.
President
President
Pence.
Trump
What
and
do
I
you
have
think-
fought for criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice President
We fought for
Pence.
educational choice and opportunities for African Americans, all of our
Thank you,
minorities.
sir.
And we'll do it for 4 more
Thank you.
years.
You know, there is no more important issue than the final issue that we're going to talk about tonight, and that is the issue of the election
But
itself.
Susan, he attacked my record. I would like an opportunity to respond.
Let me give you 30 seconds because we're running out of
I
time.
appreciate that.
What is she gonna say?
First of all, having served as the Attorney General of the state of California,
Yeah,
the work
that's what that
I
does.
did is a model of what our
He's state
nation needs to
prosecutor.
do, and we will be able to do under a Joe Biden presidency.
You hear that, everyone?
Our agenda includes what this administration has failed to do. It will be about not only instituting a ban on chokeholds and carotid holes.
Thank you.
Not only,
Thank you, Senator
I would
Harris.
like to go through.
Was
These
that
are
his
points
cough?
that you made earlier
That
in the
counts
hour,
as
and I
someone
wanna talk
coughing.
about the
Did you guys hear
election
that?
itself before we have to
But I
conclude
want
our
to talk
debate.
about the connection between what Joe and I will do and my record, which
There it is.
includes,
There's another cough.
I was the first
I love it.
statewide officer
I love
to institute
someone
a
coughing so
requirement that
loudly it picks
my
up in the
agents
mics.
would wear body cameras and keep them on full time. We were
That
the
was
first
not a stretch.
to
You fucking
initiate
heard that.
A requirement that
Look
there
at
would be
that.
a training for law enforcement on implicit bias because yes, Joe Biden and I recognize that implicit bias does exist, Mr. Vice President, contrary to what you may believe. We did the work of instituting reforms that were about investing in reentry.
It's police reform.
This is the work that we have done and the work
Just
we will
not
do going
substantial.
forward. And again, I will not be lectured by the Vice President on our record of what we have done in terms of law enforcement and keeping our communities safe and a commitment to reforming the criminal justice system of America.
Thank you, Senator Harris. And I'd like to pose I'd like you to respond first to the question on our final topic, the election itself. President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election.
Fake
if your ticket
news.
wins and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power,
I will make Stalin
what
look like
steps
an
would you and
anarchist.
Vice President Biden then take? What would happen next? You have 2 minutes.
So I'll tell you, Joe and I are, I think, particularly proud of the coalition that we've built around our campaign. We probably have one of the broadest coalitions of folks that you've ever seen.
Whoever the fuck that is having like a coughing, maybe a sneeze?
But also
one of them was a cough.
And Republicans. In fact, 7 members of President George W. Bush's cabinet are supporting our ticket. We have the support of Colin Powell, Cindy McCain, John Kasich, over 500 generals, retired generals, and former national security experts and advisors are supporting our campaign. And I believe they are doing that because they know that Joe Biden has a deep, deep seated commitment to fight for our democracy and to fight for the integrity of our democracy and to bring integrity back to the White House.
I don't think so.
And so we believe in the American people.
I'll stream for a bit after the debates.
And here's what I'd like to say to everybody. Vote. Please vote. Vote early. Come up with a plan to vote. Go to iwillvote.com.
It is funny though, right? What will you do if Trump instates a military dictatorship? I will vote.
Days to make the decision about what will be the course of our country for the next 4 years. And it is within our power, and if we use our vote and we use our voice, we will win. And we will not let anyone subvert our democracy with what Donald Trump has been doing, as he did on the debate stage last week.
This is just like a fucking...
When again, in front of 70 million people...
She's trying to make it a Sorkin speech.
He openly attempted to suppress the vote. Joe Biden, on the other hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump doesn't think he can run on a record because it's a failed record, Joe Biden
the
on
big
that
tent
stage
that
said,
Democrats have goes from the center to the right.
So I'll repeat what Joe said. Please vote.
Thank you, Senator. Vice President Pence, President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election.
Fake news.
If Vice President Biden is declared the winner and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what would be your role and responsibility?
Yeah, no, Sorkin speeches
what would you
more coherent.
Personally do? You have
absolutely.
Well, Susan, first and foremost, I think we're going to win this election.
She hasn't defeated him in the realm of facts or whatever.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris rattle off a long litany of the establishment in Washington, D.C., an establishment that Joe Biden's been a part of for 47 years. President Donald Trump has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life.
It's a non-answer.
I have every confidence that those same Americans that delivered that historic victory.
Which is cool. That's reassuring.
They see this president's record.
Like not like no, we will step down if we lose.
Revived our economy through
just dodge.
Tax
Can't
cuts
even promise that.
Regulation, fighting for fair.
Because again, Kamala should be like.
Energy.
I would like to point out they literally
didn't.
He dodged the question.
And we stood with the men and women of law enforcement every single day. And I think.
Well, I don't know why you fucking wouldn't do that. If the moderator is going to let you do it. Then you should do it.
When you talk about accepting the outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election. It's amazing.
Have they?
When Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, the FBI actually spied on
Obamagate.
I mean, there were documents released this week that the CIA actually made a referral.
Obamagate, top tier dodge, top tier dodge
from the Hillary Clinton campaign, and of course, we've all seen the avalanche, what you put the country through for the better part of 3 years, until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed, and then Senator Harris, you and your colleagues in the Congress,
this is Russiagate
tried to impeach
more than
the President of the
Obamagate.
United States. Over a phone call.
Cops are bad cops.
And now Hillary Clinton has actually said to Joe Biden that in her words, under no circumstances should he concede the election. So let me just say, I think we're going to win this election. President Trump and I are fighting every day in courthouses to prevent Joe Biden
people from voting,
from changing the rules,
preventing people from voting,
universal mail-in voting that'll create a massive opportunity for voter fraud.
Oh yeah, talk about mail-in.
We have a free and fair election. We know we're going to have confidence in it.
Talk about that.
And I believe in all my heart that President Donald Trump's going to be reelected for 4 more years.
You know, I've written all the questions that I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate, I'd like to read a question that someone else wrote. The Utah Debate Commission asked students in the state to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville Junior High in Springville, Utah. And here's what she wrote, quote, "When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When I watch the news, all I see is citizen fighting against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are two candidates from opposing
I need some
parties
fucking
trying to
civility.
tear each other down.
I'm an 8th
If
grader.
our leaders can't get along, how are
My
the
my
citizens
8th
supposed
grade
to get along?" And then she
child
added,
turned to me and said,
"Your examples
why is
could
there no
make
more
all the
civility?
difference to bring us together."
Why can't it be like on the
So
West
to
Wing?
each of you in turn, I'd like you to take 1 minute and respond to Brecklin. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute.
Brecklin, it's a wonderful question.
All cops are bad cops.
Let me just commend you for taking an interest in public life.
Also, folks, I have a
I
Discord.
started
if you
following
want to
the
join
news
that.
when I was very young.
It'll alert you when I go live.
America, we believe in a free and open exchange of debate, and we celebrate that. And it's how we've created.
Pence
literally
actually
the
did go
freest
in
and
on the
most
respectability
prosperous nation
bullshit at
in
the start of
history
this.
the world. I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at
That
the relationship
classic
between
Pence
Justice Ruth
charisma,
Bader
dude.
Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States.
It was
One very
fucking, it was
liberal,
Pence
one
that
very
did it.
conservative.
I can't do
And what's
this.
been learned since her passing was the two of them,
The
and
late
their
Scalias.
families, were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have
it doesn't
on
count.
the stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans. And that's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country. So I just want to encourage you, Brecklin. I want to tell you that we're going to work every day to have government as good as our people. And the American people each and every day love a good debate. We love a good argument. But we always come together and are always there for one another
Thank you,
in
Vice
times of need. And we've especially learned that
Thank you,
through
Mr.
the
Vice President.
difficulties of this year.
Senator Harris, what would you say to Brecklin?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright because it is that
there a
perspective
Twitter
on
account
who
for
we
the
are
fence
and who
fly?
we should be. That is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that, that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden, one of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is after Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier. It so troubled him and upset him like it did all of us, that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening.
I'm sure
Joe
that's
has
why
a
Joe
long-standing
ran.
reputation of working across the aisle and working in a bipartisan way. And that's what he's going to do as president.
Dude.
Joe Biden has a history
This is the new Bernie
lifting
Sanders.
people up and fighting for their dignity. You have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain, he has known suffering, and he has known love.
I would say that Kamala's performance
so,
tonight has been a resident
Brecklin,
sleeper.
when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership, and it will be because we fight for each person's voice through their
Kamala
vote,
sometimes looks
and we
like
get
she's about
engaged
to
in this
cry.
election because you have the ability through your work and through eventually your vote
Thank you,
to
Senator
determine
Harris.
the future of our country and what its leadership looks like.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Thank you, Vice President Pence. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We want to thank also the University of Utah for its hospitality.
All right, that's it?
And most of all, our thanks to all the Americans
That was fucking boring.
who watched this
I want to know the
debate
reaction
tonight.
to this shit. We're gonna
Again,
keep
our best
streaming.
wishes for a quick recovery
talk
to
about the
President
stream,
Trump,
or talk about it.
the First Lady, and everyone who is
They didn't
battling
flirt.
COVID-19.
Yes, Charmhole.
The second
you
presidential
should just
debate
write your own
is next
fucking
week
thing.
on October 15th, a town hall style debate in Miami.
Joe, I know I
We
agree
hope
with
you'll
everything
join
you
us
said.
then.
I mean, that's basically what happened, yes. When Kamala was saying this is a thing that Joe thinks, she was just referring to herself in the third person. Like she is... Charmo, thank you for the 5 gift subs. I'm sorry that they didn't flirt on TV or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's what, like, most debates are like. I know we're all used to 2016 and beyond, but that was sort of a, you know, like, you know, bullshit, normalcy. I'm sure that 8th grade question is real, because that sounds like something an 8th grader would ask. Yeah, the plexiglass is smaller than the barrier Pence's wife usually puts up when he has to talk to a woman. Well, yeah, usually the barrier is soundproof. Oh, okay, that counts. That counts as Kamala wearing a mask. It's not a fucking, you know, we didn't get the bingo. And you know, we were very not close to getting a bingo because it wasn't a wild debate. Bingos are easier when, and having like funny things when like there's an insane, but it was like just fucking boring. It's far closer to a Sorkin script than anything. Especially the last question of like, you know, this 8th grader is like, why? When I turn on the TV screen, I see everyone arguing every day and it makes me sad and I want to cry. Why? What will you do about civility? That's very Sorkin.
All
but yeah.
cops are bad cops.
I has stream, baby.
Aurelie Astor, thank you for the 9 months. Zach Quirty, thank you for the 100,000 bits, I think. 2, 4, 6, 800 bits. Yeah, I was that 8th grader. That 8th grader was me asking that question. That's good. Yeah, okay. So yeah, we didn't win, as you can see. Oh shit, Hype Train. CD, thank you for the 100 bits. Folks, we have a lot of good emotes. 26 cool tier 1 if you would like to contribute to the scam train. So this is our bingo sheet. I'll play the fucking audio for now. Very great time for the fucking lizard. Why TV people argue. Yeah, bingo mildly disappointing, but that's honestly not a surprise. I told you guys this one was gonna be less entertaining. Any gifters, Pog? We didn't get a bingo, sadly. Yeah, Fly 2024. I mean, it's so funny that there was a fly on his fucking head for like 5 minutes. That's great. The capitalist class is like, I think Marx refers to them as like the vampire class. There's this sort of undead nature. Ruxine, thank you for the tier 1. They're like undead, so I'm sure that flies must attract them all the time. It's like how Shakespeare describes Richard III, where it's like, you know, dogs bark at him on the streets. You know, flies swarm. That's sort of Pence's vibe, I think. Yeah, I mean, Pence must smell like death, I guess. JPEG, thank you for the Jeff Bezos bucks. And Chain Sleeves, thank you for the gift sub. Fly was a Democratic op. Oh, is there a Joe Biden? Are you the 420 sub? This is a bait. I'm sorry, it's not a real goal. Oh, that's good. Very excellent meme, sir. I tip my hat off to you, epic meme, Joe Biden, to help this campaign fly. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Leak the sub count? We are, how many sub points? We're 26 sub points away from 1400, and we get an extra emote, which is cool. So that's fun, if you would like to subscribe. We already have 26 tier 1s. You're all very cool. We love to see you, folks. It's true. I can show you. I can prove it to you. Look at it. Look at the sub points. Where do we go back? Don't forget to stretch before I go to sleep. Thank you. I have 2 minutes left on the sub train. I will not block I will not unblock counterfeit silver lizard. This is a capitalist stream. If you want the silver lizard, you have to pay the tier 2 price. They're all people, yeah, but they're both people of faith, so it'll be fine. POFs. There's a POF myself. Without Joe Biden, there would be no new China. I guess that's the summary of the stream, isn't it? Is the unquashable. Thank you for the 5 tier 1s. Let's go. Tier 3, folks. We love to see it. That's the main takeaway that I found interesting. That I honestly wouldn't have expected is Harris taking the line of that the trade war with China is bad, and we shouldn't do it, and we should be like supporting, you know, capitalists across borders. I mean, she didn't say that, but you know. What if I turn the gold lizard into a counterfeit silver lizard? I guess I'm not too mad about that one.
What if you just fucking say about me?
Anyways. Yeah, honestly, I'm glad there's only... I think that's the last debate. That's my prediction. I don't think there's going to be any more. Yeah, I didn't expect the debate to be good. So, whatever. I mean, yeah, the fly was funny. I guess that's good. We got that. We got... I'm feeling like Mega Minds. Rose Splinter, thank you for the 100 bits. Also, if you give 1,000 bits, there's an emote you unlock, which is just... It says cop and I'm pointing at the screen. It's good. Yeah, I should make a fly emote. It was Pence's red eye, which is a potential symptom of the coronavirus. Was funny, I guess. And then the fly that was sticking to his body for multiple minutes, which doesn't usually happen to people. That's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to... I don't think I'm allowed to make an emote out of Pence because he's a political figure. And people don't like me, so they report me whenever I do emotes that aren't allowed, and then I lose them. So I'm just not gonna bother. Sublime Merch, thank you for 100 bits. It's the hairspray. Maybe he was stuck in his hair because of the hairspray. Who knows? John Brown, maybe. Actually, maybe not. Actually, new TOS, probably not. Oh yeah, I'm sure because that's the only funny thing that happens. They can't make fun of his eye or whatever, so the only thing they have is the eye, or the only thing they have is the fly. Absolutely. I cannot wait. I'm trying to think of the shitty SNL joke they're gonna make about the fucking fly. What do we think, folks? Chat, think of it. Think of an SNL joke. Any SNL writers in the chat? Yeah, it was a rough debate. 2 minutes left on the hype train. I'm talking... Oh, they're gonna love that one, too. SNL writers are absolutely gonna reference that. She busted it out too early, honestly. Like, she should have busted out the I'm talking thing after he had interrupted a couple times. Like, around when Joe Biden said, like, oh, will you just shut up, man? Stove and Bloke, thank you for doing. It should have been around then. 20 sub points away from a new emote, folks. We love to see it. Yeah, I mean, literally, he's rotting. It's absurd and grotesque in a way that's very on the nose. Which is funny, of course. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's gonna be a fucking, the Jim Carrey impression is not, he's just doing Jim Carrey. It's not on. Full skip parroting the fly. Oh yeah, they're gonna do a fly, yeah. I guess that's it. Like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly was like a Pence supporter or something. That type of shit. I don't know. Look, that's about as robust in terms of joke structure as SNL goes. They should fucking hire me. 10 seconds left, folks. Thank you everyone for the hype train. Let's move on, I guess. Here we go. Okay. Is there any tangible reaction from undecideds like there was in the other debate? I'll delete this too. Yeah, we didn't get a bingo. But I guess that's not surprising. Oh fuck, the lizard's back. Okay. Why even live? No bingo. I mean, honestly, it was expected. For us to have gotten a bingo reasonably... Fonz, thank you for 100 bits. For us to reasonably have gotten a bingo, we probably would have had to, like, get really fucking boring answers. So... or really boring things, and that's not worth it. Voted Clinton. Oh, I mean, the fucking Kim Bone shit. That's awesome. I'm glad that he's coming back. That's a great 2016 character that they're bringing back because they're too lazy to write new ones. It's so funny that he's still an undecided moron. Like that's like Ken Bone's identity, is not understanding. I wonder what he said about. Did he say anything about the debate? Oh, okay, yeah. I guess he voted third party, didn't he? Okay, well. Yeah. He's voting for Joe Jorgensen. That's awesome. That's such a cool pivot to make. I'm sure everyone will love him. Okay. Is there any... I wonder what the general... I mean, I don't think this matters that much. It probably won't have that significant of an effect compared to the presidential debate. Or yeah. If anyone has any, like, data on that, just or even anecdotes about... That would be interesting. Yeah, it's a good bit. Cause undecided voters, it's like this. Oh, is it fly fan cam? That's good. Okay. Chapo's working with Biden. Let's fucking go. Oh, flywillvote.com. Mrs. Krasenstein. The funniest account on Twitter. Because it's obviously just the Krasenstein brothers. I guess they share an account. Oh, okay. Oh, I get it. Fly will vote redirects to I will vote. That's some great content. I mean, yeah, nothing fucking happened during the debate. That's literally all that happened. Is the fly. I think honestly the reason why I'm so sad, or so not sad, but like bored about it. Oh, holy fucking shit. I mean, time is just a circle, isn't it? The fly that landed on Hillary Clinton's face during the debate. That's hilarious. It's not available in Canada, of course, because what is Trudeau ensuring that this Hillary Clinton slander does not pull up on my feed. But yeah, it's the same thing. Trump is now telling everyone how great he feels after like a potential near-death experience, like what is basically pneumonia. The fly decides which party loses the election. That's it. And now, of course, there's a fucking...
that so much of what he's just said is not right, but he gets to run his campaign any way he chooses. He gets to decide what he wants to talk about.
How long was it there? Oh, literally a second. Oh, okay, well, that's funny. That it was a big deal, it lasted a second. Yep, it was a fly. 15 likes. Oh yeah, it's like Bernie Sanders.
Now you see, this little bird doesn't know it. Oh.
That was a classic. Remember when you were happy and it was a chance Bernie could win? Yeah, fucking get her ass. Palm Beach post. Okay. I'll probably end the stream now. I don't usually stream on Wednesdays, so this one was supposed to be short, and it was like 4 hours. Yeah, I mean, not interesting, boring stuff, folks. But we shouldn't be surprised, because I mean, fucking, it's the VP debate. It looked like an actual debate, which is to say that it was boring. And there was a lot of like, question dodging and shit like that. Yeah, I'll rate Mike, friend of the stream. Central_committee. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, because I stream tomorrow. Also, here's my Discord. If you want to, it'll ping you when I go live, etc. What else? Yeah, I go live at like 3 p.m. Pacific time, like every other day, typically. Doing it tomorrow as well. We'll probably talk about debate reactions and fucking other stuff. And whatever the fuck Trump's doing. Yeah, hang out with people in the Discord. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.